Something like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillar. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to...
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button. You already know what time it is, and you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well, but what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. Share the content. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks. Today we're going to be talking about a concept that really needs to spread amongst men a whole lot more, and it's something that women just need to learn to deal with. Just real talk, y'all. This is a concept that men need to say a whole lot more and let the women just learn to deal with it. We're going to be talking about feminism has made women useless. Yes, and I know that's a tough title and a big thing to say, but it is what it is, okay? That ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't got nothing to do with y'all. It's just is what it is. And feminism has made women useless. And there's a lot of women who bought into feminism, especially when it comes to Black women, y'all. They have bought heavy into feminism, and they have become useless. Let's just keep it real. You know, we got to keep it real. They have become useless in a context of dealing with men. They become useless. But if we ain't gonna tell them, they may never truly accept it. But we're men. It's okay to tell them what's going on, y'all. It's definitely okay for us to tell them what's going on. All right. It is what it is. Okay. Now, let's before we get into it, y'all. Before we get into it, I got to give a special thanks for people who help make things happen around here the way they do. There's people who come aboard and they voluntarily show their support on this channel, and I definitely appreciate each and every one of them. And as I've told y'all before, there's no gift too great, too small, because I do appreciate it all. We have people who financially contribute to this channel, and they do matter at the end of the day. They do matter, and they matter a great deal. So shout out to Emerald Edge 72. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Thank you for all you do, my brother. Thank you for all you do. And I know some places, they don't acknowledge you the way that they should, but at the end of the day, y'all, even if you throw in big money, you throw in small money, medium size, however you perceive it to be, it all adds up at the end of the day. And it makes a difference, okay? It definitely makes a difference. So appreciate each and every one of y'all. Shout out to Emerald Edge 72. And let me give some shout outs to some of the first people in the chat this morning, because when you start a show, it's always great to see that you have a couple people who will chime in, and they ready when you get there, okay? They ready when you get there. But y'all know how it goes. There can only be one. And that one today, the Highlander of today's stream, my main man, Giogami, is the Highlander of today's stream. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Glad to see you in the building. Glad to see you in the building. Shout out to Red Pill Sleeper Cells in the house. Great to see you too as well. Great to see you. Mr. Suge to you is in the building, y'all. The Saute Sheriff is in the house. Glad to see you. Bruce Owen Wayne, aka Dusty King, has entered. Glad to see you, my brother. Y'all know how it go. My main man, Chef Mike's Roundtable is here. The coolest man in the show business, y'all. The head of the pit crew is in the house. Always great to see you, my friend. Always great to see you. Tunnel Runner is in the building. Good to have you. I see Inspired Truth Broadcast is here. Good to see you too as well. Devon Townsend is in the building. What's going on? Floyd Thompson is here. Yay, yay. Good to have you. Good to have you. Sarah B is here. Hey, Sarah. How you doing? Glad to see you. Glad to see you. We got D in the house. He says, absolutely great title, great topic. Well, thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. And this is something I definitely want black men to really start dealing with more on a regular basis. And I guess you would pronounce this Jerk Cat is in the building as well. Okay. Now, see, this is the thing. Some people don't know no better. Even though you think it's a great title, it's a great topic, there are people who are going to get offended and stuff like this, y'all. And it looks like Jerk Cat may be one of them. He says, can we talk about how porn and video games have made men useless? Come on, y'all stupid. No, we can't talk about that, because those things actually motivate men to do stuff. If you think about it, women with good women with good poon can motivate men to do almost anything. So if you hanging out with people who get a little porn and they become useless, that says something about your character. Now, and if you want to talk about video games, now video games keep a lot of men out of trouble and occupy where they don't have to do dumb stuff for women. So no, it hasn't made men useless at all. If that is the reaction of the men you look at, then you got to wonder why you so focused on those guys. Now I don't know if this is a male or a female. You would think it would be a female based on on what they saying, y'all. You would think it would be a female, but nowadays you can't tell. It's so many women trying to pretend they're men. Okay, and then there's so many men who actually think just like their mamas. It's kind of sad at the end of the day. So you don't really know. You just know it's a sad person who didn't put much thought into what they said. That's all we know at this point. Is you're just a sad person who didn't put a lot of thought into what you said. Or the best option would be you was just cracking the joke and didn't mean it at all. But I'm pretty sure it's not that. But that doesn't matter at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you was willing to say something that's stupid on a public platform. But still, we welcome you here. See, we not like other places. Okay, well, we just gonna shame you and tell you to leave. No. You're welcome here because people like you obviously need this content the most. Okay, so you're welcome here. Now, shout out to Jerkcat said, because Jerkcat, a little slower than other folks, y'all. Jerkcat says, my gender don't matter. Did I say it did? See, you said that like we said your gender matters. I didn't say it mattered. And I said you're welcome here. See, you kind of showing you you ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer, and that's okay. Because we still love you. Okay, we still love you over here. and we still willing to work with people like you. And it's okay. Okay. You don't have to be the smart, y'all. And that's the great thing about the Roger Report Live, y'all. You don't have to be the smartest person here. Okay. I know that, a lot of people feel shame when they ain't the smartest person in the classroom or they're not the top guy at a meeting. You don't have to be that here. Nobody's requiring you to be the top here. Okay. This is not a real requirement. It just is what it is. So let's get on to it, y'all. Let's get on to it because obviously we got people who need this type of content here. So let's just take advantage of it. Okay. As we always do. All right. So let's deal with this, y'all. Feminism has made women useless. Okay. Now, of course, I'm talking in the context of dealing with men in relationships. And y'all know what I've been seeing around lately, which is, been some interesting stuff. And I get why it's appearing. Because there's some men that really care. And there are some men who believe that if we just wait for certain conditions, women are going to do a little better and they're going to act a little bit more right. Okay. I'm not going to say for some of them that won't happen. There will be some women out there who will act a little bit more right based on conditions. Okay. Some men may find it easier to deal with the women based on conditions. Okay. Which is cool. I myself personally would never wait around for that. Okay. Because I do understand that we're all humans. We all have ideas. We all can believe in whatever we want to believe in. Okay. I'm a person that believes in God. Okay. I believe in Jesus. But everybody don't. Everybody can believe in what they want to. It just is what it is. Okay. You can believe in stuff that makes no sense. You can believe in stuff that makes perfect sense. We all, as adults, get to believe in what we want to believe in. Now, at the end of the day, you can believe that if the right conditions happen, women will be easier to deal with. And I'm going to say more power to you. That's all I can say for you. More power to you. Good luck. Hopefully you will live long enough to see the perfect conditions where women are going to act in a way that you think is going to be valuable to you as a man. Okay. Myself personally, I ain't worried about all that. Okay. I think if I was going to see those conditions, I would have saw them already. All right. But hey, if you live here in America, they say America is the greatest country on the earth. So, there's opportunities here to make something happen. But if you want to make a family happen, you're going to have to get with a woman who believes in family. And that, I believe, is something that a lot of men have yet to accept. And, a lot of us, we make excuses for the nonsense. Okay. Like basically, Jerk Cat was trying to come in and make excuses, I mean, people gonna do stuff like that because a lot of folks just don't want to deal with reality. And I understand it. I'm not mad at these people for not wanting to deal with reality. I just know they do. Shout out to Chef Mike's Roundtable. And y'all, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content. Because if you want some real world stuff, you can get it here. Okay? If you want to deal with the real, you'll definitely get it here. All right? So make sure if you like this type of content that you do subscribe to the channel and make sure you like the video. All right. Now, doing this again, y'all. What's this, like the 5th time I had to restart a channel? So there are people who really don't want you to hear reality. Okay. And I understand that when you look at mainstream media, you're not gonna get a whole lot of you get it in certain doses. It's designed to get you to think a certain way instead of just accepting reality for what it is. But when you think about it, women who've believed in feminism, what is their value? Okay. See, this is not saying women aren't valuable. Women do have some value. Now the thing is, what value can you get from a woman? And a lot of men, because they are lesser men, they'll tell you that if you don't go through the trouble of trying to draw value out of a woman, there's something wrong with you. Now you got to think about it. These are lesser men. I'm not going to say they're not men. I just have an understanding that they have been taught basically their whole lives that they are not truly valuable themselves, and they're trying to draw their value from what they can get a woman to do. These are men that don't really understand manhood. Think about it, y'all. Can a man understand manhood if he believes what a woman does has something to do with manhood? You think about that. You see, when you think about it from a fundamental standpoint, he don't know what he's talking about. He may sound like he knows what he's talking about. He may throw out some stuff there, but if you still measuring yourself as a man based off what women are doing, then you can't understand manhood. And why do I say this? Because there's a lot of men who are going to tell you, well, see, if you can get a woman to do this, or you can get a woman to do that. Manipulating a woman has nothing to do with manhood. That's number one. Okay? It has nothing to do with manhood. Now, manipulation is manipulation. And if you think about manipulation is something that women do on a regular basis because they have to manipulate the world to get the things that they want. Because they can't fight for the stuff and win perceivably. Okay, they can't have a battle. They can't go to war with men to get certain things done. They have to live in the world amongst men. And usually they're kind of outgunned. Not by actual guns. I'm saying muscles, strategy, how you would go about a war. They can't really get into fights with men and perceivably win. Okay, there's no female army that you're going to put together that's going to go against a male army. Now, if you possibly, if we be realistic, if you had a female army going against regular dudes who aren't even militarily trained, they got enough problems as it is. Okay, those women ain't gonna necessarily win a battle amongst with some men, not trained men, just regular dudes. Just regular dudes, never been trained to fight or anything. Just regular dudes. If you have a trained army of women going up against regular dudes, they're gonna have a time on their own. Not saying the women just would definitely lose because they are trained. A trained fighter can usually you should be able to expect a lot more out of a trained fighter. But if they go against just a bunch of regular dudes, they're gonna have enough problems on their own. So they have to manipulate the world. At least they're gonna have a mindset. They're gonna have to manipulate the world to get the things they want. And I totally get that. So men trying to manipulate women, yeah, I ain't gonna say it's fruity, but why depend on manipulation so much when you don't necessarily need to? Why do it so much? Now this is the thing, y'all. Some people say, well, feminism ain't bad because, it means that women are allowed to work. Well, I mean, women working, it's not necessarily bad. It's just a thing. Okay. Why you work is far more important than if you're just working at all. Okay. Because when you go to work, you should be going to work to accomplish something. Now, some of us, we go to work to accomplish a lot. Some of us go to work to accomplish very little. Some of us simply go to work because we think we just absolutely have to maintain what we have in life. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, if you a man that want a whole lot of stuff and you willing to go out there and work to get a whole lot of stuff, that's your business at the end of the day. And nobody should shame you for going to get some stuff. Now, you should always make sure money ain't your master. But if money is not your master, there's nothing wrong with working hard to get the stuff that you get. Now, if you're a guy who doesn't want to work so hard to get what some other guy gets because you don't think it's worth it, then that needs to be respected too. Because truth be told, a lot of those men live much happier lives. And that's just it at the end of the day. A lot of those men live much happier lives. And it's great to have money, but it's also great to have time to spend it. It's also great to enjoy it. And you got to understand money is a tool to be used to gain stuff and to enjoy stuff. And if you live a life where you're not having any kind of fun at all, I don't even know why you're doing that one, because it's just, if you live in America, there's too many ways to have some fun while you live in life to not have any. But some people get so focused, or you get caught up in this mental race of trying to beat this other person. Now, being competitive is good, but you don't let it get out of control. Okay, being competitive is good, but you don't let it get out of control. And I ain't gonna never tell a man don't get your money. If you want some money, get on out there and get it. Now, this is the thing. We have women who are not men. All right. Now, women, when they start working, okay, black women are working to make sure they don't have a good family dynamic. Now, this is just stupid. All right. And this is something we need to do, but we need to be real about the situation. We need to face it head on. You know, you have a bunch of black women. All right, well, let's deal with the ones who go to college. The ones who go to college are specifically trying to get a degree so they don't have to listen to a man. They'll tell you that all day long. If you pay attention and listen to what they're saying, they're going to tell you the main reason black women go to college is so they don't have to listen to a black man. That is the number one reason. So I know a lot of people say, well, you know, these things, certain things are going on and family dynamics are getting messed up. Well, what do you think is going to happen when a bunch of women is going to college so they don't have to listen to a man? Now, we look at women in college, and I've always said that, yeah, they're real stupid because you're going to college with a group of men. And the reason they went is so they can get a better outcome in life. This is the avenue that they chose so they can get a better outcome in life. They want to go make more money. Okay. They want to get into a certain career that, you know what I'm saying, they believe will be more fulfilling to them. And they believe it'll put them in better position to take care of a family. That's why men go to college. Let's be realistic about this. Because if you weren't trying to do those things as a man, why would you even go? You don't need to go to college to make money. You can make money without going to college. If you were a man who would even incur debt to go to college, that's just debt you don't need to incur. You can get in society, make some money, and not incur all that debt. So why are men going to college in the first place? Let's be realistic, y'all. The average brother go to college so he can put himself in a better position to take care of himself and his family one day. He don't even have a family yet, but he's trying to position himself so he can take care of his family better. So brothers go to college because they want to be better family men. Some of them, that's the way they think they can position themselves to become a better family man. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Most people don't go, if you think about it. Most people don't go. But when men go, they go for the sake of family. Now, this is the crazy thing. Women do not go for the sake of family. Yet women try to use college as something to say that it puts them in a better position to be a family, which it doesn't. Okay, it just doesn't. Let's be realistic, y'all. Because I've said this, and I'm gonna keep drilling this in until people start to get it. Once a woman, she's hit her 18th birthday, and she has graduated high school. What is she really gonna do out here in the world that's gonna make her a better wife? It's not a whole lot that she can do that's gonna make her a better wife. Okay, it's just not. Having sex with multiple men is not gonna make her a better wife. Well, what do women do after they? I'm not even talking about before. Okay, I'm not talking about what they did as girls beforehand. But when 18 has come to meet high school graduation, when those two things come together, the stuff that's happening after that, what the heck is they doing to become a better wife? Now, some people may say, well, the women, it's some women that go to college. Okay, and you went to college, right? Okay, cool. So what did that do to help you be a better wife? Because there's plenty of women with degrees who are not marriage material. The vast majority of black women who have a degree are not marriage material. Now, somebody may say, well, that's not true. The vast majority of black women with a degree are not married. How could it not be true? See, a lot of us, we want to put certain things in a place that it just don't fit. Well, no, there's a lot of college women, they marriage material. Ain't nobody married them. Don't argue about marriage material when you talk about people who ain't got married. It just is what it is. Men determine if women are marriage material. Men haven't married them. You don't have to do some super equation. You ain't got to solve the unsolvable problem. Like, you don't have to do all that to figure out why that they are not marriage material. All you gotta do is look at the fact that nobody married them. They were not married because they were not marriage material. It's just that simple at the end of the day. And a lot of them have put themselves in a position where they are so far from ever becoming marriage material, it's ridiculous. You know? Because there are women out there who've graduated, you know. Maybe they make a little bit more money because they went to college. Maybe they don't. Because when you start looking at what women have done after college, a lot of times you can question, why did you go in the first place? Because if you don't have a certain degree and you're not making certain money because of that college education, and then they take on debt, it just makes them less attractive. I've told y'all before, I've literally talked to women, okay, who, I'm trying to make some headway with them, and I started talking to them about what's going on. Some of them have been to college, but there was something going on with the ones who went to college. They would talk about all this debt that they had. And truth be told, once they told me about the debts, a lot of times the college women wouldn't get no play from me. I've talked to college women who had more than 6 figures of debt. And I just stopped talking to them. It just is what it is. See, y'all, I've gotten a number, okay? But I actually talk to women. I give them a call, talk to them, see what's shaking. I'm going to ask certain questions before we even go on a date. There's women who done told me they owe 6 figures in college debt. And what we going on a date for? There's no reason for me to go on a date with a woman who owes 6 figures in college debt. Okay, now maybe if you just came out of college, you know what I'm saying? Maybe, you got the right degree, you done had the right job offer, maybe. But I'm not finna give no woman so I can pay off her college debt. I'm not doing that. Why? Okay, because the average Black woman who's went to college is not gonna be a good wife. Okay. Now, y'all may say that ain't true, but the numbers say it is true because they're not married. Now, I'm not gonna say women who've been in college haven't got married more than women who didn't go to college, because there's more women who didn't go to college. Okay. But that don't mean you're gonna be a good wife, because that ain't what college is for. College is to produce good workers. That's what college is for. It's to produce a better worker than someone who only went to high school. That is literally what college is for. It ain't to make people wives. Okay? That's definitely not the purpose of college. All right. Shout out to Just Getting By. I'm gonna see what Just Getting By said. First time seeing the name, so just curious on what they're gonna say. Just Getting By says many men go to college because they know that's a smarter choice, particularly if they're learning how to start and run a business. Working in skilled trade is profitable until your body gives out. All right, Just Getting By. I wouldn't say anything wrong with that, because at the end of the day, as I said, men are going to college to put themselves. They believe that's a good avenue for them to put themselves in a better position for their family. They're not just going for the sake of going. Not that I'm necessarily disagreeing with you. I'm just saying they're doing it so they can put themselves in position to, to be a better husband and father. That's their way of getting it done. Men have to choose certain paths. That's a lot of men's way of, how am I going to position myself to be a better father and husband one day? And a lot of them will choose college for that reasoning. So men going to college is no big deal. But women going to college turns into an issue because, let's keep it real, they're going to try to make sure they don't have to listen to a man. That's what Black women do. They tell you all the time, all you got to do is pay attention to what they say. So if you're a man and your primary purpose is to take care of a woman and you want to put yourself in a better position to do so, if you believe that's the avenue that's going to work for you, you're family oriented. Now, if you're a woman and you're going to college to make sure you don't have to listen to a man, which is not going to put you in a better position to be a wife, then you're no good for a relationship. So it's pointless at the end of the day. Now, the thing is, those women have bought into feminism. They want to do exactly what a man does. And I'm not saying women can't do certain stuff, but if you trying to do the exact same thing I do, why would I marry you? What's the point? Now, shout out to Black Old Strikes. He says, I don't think college's primary purpose is to produce productive workers, which is why it seldom achieves such. I'm gonna say, Black Rule, that's an interesting take. I don't see what else it would be from a primary standpoint. From a primary standpoint, to me, college has always been to make a better worker. It was, hey, we got folks in high school. We need certain folks to run certain things or to be more of a management class. We want to separate our kids, people with more money. We want to separate our kids from the poor people. So it was introduced as a barrier, if you ask me. So to me, it's just a barrier to make sure certain kids get opportunities that other kids do not. But it's still so you can work. you know. So to me, I just believe the goal is just to be a better worker than other folks. High school is to make a worker too. Even grammar school is to make a worker. It's all of that is so people can be employed and make good workers for the people who own stuff. I believe it's all designed that way. I just think college is just a different level of doing the same thing. Okay. All right. Shout out to AL. He says no link to StreamYard in the back, sir. There should be a link there. We've been having problems with the link on this new channel, y'all. We've been having problems with the link. I don't know what to tell you. So it looks like the link that we leave in the description don't really do too much. So we'll start posting it more in the regular chat. And people seem to be able to come up from the link in the regular chat. So I'll try to be mindful of that. As I add moderators, y'all, please let's try to drop a link about every 15 minutes or so that we get at least one link in there. So people will be able to come up if they want to come up. Shout out to Chef Mike, already responded. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. I'm going to continue to leave it in the description. I have no idea why that's happening, y'all. I have no idea what that's happening, but y'all, for those who were here yesterday, y'all seen things happen toward the end of the show, but y'all know I didn't end the show the way I normally end the show, so y'all know there's some stuff going on here and there, okay? It just is what it is, and, hey, I don't control everything, y'all. I just don't control everything, so it is what it is. Now, I'm going to say, the thing is, I am not saying it's bad for a woman to go to college, but if your mindset is to go to college so you don't have to listen to a man, ain't no point in you going if you're looking to have a family. It just doesn't make sense at the end of the day. Now, y'all, I want to do this too. And I do apologize, y'all, because I was sitting there yesterday, after yesterday's show. I was like, oh, okay, I ain't getting nothing yesterday. And I got something yesterday, y'all. The phone I have that I received my Cash Apps on, y'all, I had it turned down. The thing didn't go off one time. I had it turned down. That was that's what happened. So I gotta say shout out to a few people, and I hope they hear this, because yesterday I got a few Cash Apps yesterday. So shout out to No Placeholder who came through with the $10 Cash App. He said supporting Black men media. Thank you very much for that, brother. I appreciate it big time. Appreciate it big time. I just didn't see it yesterday, y'all, and I do apologize for that. Also, shout out to Passport OG. He sent the $5 Cash App in. and he said dues. Okay, so I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate you. You know, and I definitely like your work. So y'all definitely subscribe to Passport OG channel as well. Shout out to Passport OG. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. He does a lot of great work over there too, y'all. And always good to have him here, but I'm glad he does great work over there. All right. And that's real talk. I had somebody else named. Now, I'm not gonna say last names like that, y'all, unless I know for sure that that's a name that I see like you're using in the regular chat. So I'm just gonna say shout out to Lawrence L. Shout out to Lawrence L. Because he hit me with a $5 super chat as well. So shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you big time. And I really hope everybody hear this, y'all. But y'all know I was sitting there thinking I ain't getting nothing. And I got to say, special thank you to Solo Roberto. This man came through yesterday, y'all, and he came early too. He came early. It was only 9:36 a.m. that it registered, man. It was only 9:36 a.m. So I hadn't even gotten to the show good. And he did this, y'all. So shout out to Solo Roberto. I definitely hope you hear this. The man said content support dropped $100. Okay, dropped $100 on the content support. So shout out. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate that big time. Appreciate that big time. And shout out to Kevin 3905. He say, "Oh ye of little faith." Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, brother. It's not that I had little faith. My thing is this: I've started these multiple times. Okay, and now unfortunately I've lost the content from those. But when at the very first beginning, I talk as if a million people are listening. That's what my intentions are. I talk as if a million people listen. So I never give people bad shows just on some, oh, we ain't got a lot of people. I don't take it for granted. I just do the best I can to make sure content good for everybody whenever they happen to see it. And I will always encourage people to go back and listen to previous episodes. And you know what? You never know how long they're going to be there. So you definitely should do that. But I'm just going to say, man, I'm gonna do the work I'm supposed to do anyway, because I believe this is the right work for me to be doing. And what comes with it just comes with it. But it was nice to see at the end of the show that I just simply had this thing turned down and didn't see anything come in. And people made it great for me. People made it great for me. So shout out to all y'all. I appreciate it. Much love to everybody who sent something in yesterday. And I do apologize that I didn't say it out loud yesterday. But thank you very much, man. I appreciate it big time. All right, now we got AL stepping up to the plate. So, AL, I'm going to go ahead and give you the flow, my brother. Get in where you fit in.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good morning, my brother.
Yeah. Peace to the panel. Peace to the chat. Long live Habitual line steppers. Yay, yay. I bet you didn't think you was going to hear that come out of my mouth no time soon. But it did. I hope I made you feel better, seeing as how people want to keep playing with your mental capacity, playing with your child. I looked up, I'm like, where my Rich at? Oh, okay. Before I got to school, man,
Rents are coming, man. Rents are coming.
No, I'm just saying, you lit it up. They playing with your livelihood. So that's what it is. I can't be mad at you. We just got to keep it pushing. It ain't that. Hey, I see it like this. If they keep wanting to cut off your channel, you must be doing something right. You must be doing something right. They don't just cut off people's channels that they don't not like. So with that being said, yeah. The title of your show today is apropos. It's very relevant, and we looking at it every day. Hey, 300,000 and counting. 300,000 and counting, boy. They got the blues, man. And I got a couple single home girls, that I've been knowing for over 20 years, and I still keep them around for insight and whatnot, to pick the brains of the crazies. How I say, yeah. They said, what you doing over here? I'm over here to talk to y'all so I can figure out why y'all so crazy, whatnot. But yet and still, I mean, bro, the stuff that come out their mouths, the stuff they still believe, craziness. Just got through watching a little quick hot thing on Passport Bros and why they still hating on them, this, that, and the third. Craziness. Man, as they keep falling because they won't listen to comprehend, they won't follow, they don't want to be led. You can't tell them nothing. They still got their t-shirt on, Roger. You can't tell them nothing. Go check them, dude. Why? Because they're from the land of sign language. And as long as they still continue to live in the land of sign language, they go keep reaping what they sow. It's gonna keep getting worse. Like they say, all hail Hydra. You got to all hail Hydra right about now because of Don Cheeto. As long as Don Cheeto's moving around, we go keep going hail Hydra. They're a problem. But I digress.
All right. Well, you know what? Shout out to all the women who lost the job. Okay, I know there's a lot of sisters. I've heard about the I did it on another channel about women women are losing the job, which turned out to be just in April. So yeah, we done had about 300,000 jobs that went away, that Black women got kind of caught up in. But at the end of the day, you don't need a job to be a wife. So to me, there was no real loss from that particular standpoint. You don't need a job to be a wife. Can a job help you be a wife? Possibly. Because if you use your money to show a man, if you use your money to show a man that you are down for him, yeah, that can possibly help you. Okay. It would impress a man that if you were using money to say, hey, baby, this is what I got because I think we can make a great couple and we can have a great family together. Yeah, that's going to help because that's going to be shocking to most men. Let's just keep it real. A woman coming at a man talking about, I want to use my money to help you so we can have a great relationship and be together. Yeah, that's going to be shocking to most men. But that is not what most Black women are going to do when it comes to anything financial. Women will go to college. Some of them not going to go to college. Most of them are not going to college. Let's keep it real. But then at the end of the day, if they do earn some money, most Black women don't want to turn money over to a man and don't want to spend any money to help a man. Now, I will say this. There is a pattern amongst people. If you see what people are, because now that we got social media, you can see stuff closer to real time. If you pay attention to what women say they do with their own money, most of them do not do anything to help a man. But normally, when you hear of women who are actually using their finances to help a man, they're usually married. That's what I kind of peeped out, y'all. I don't know if this is if it's a secret to folks or people just ain't seeing what they need to see. But usually, women who say I'm going to use my money to help a man, those women are usually married. I don't even think it's like. I don't really think it's like some hidden gem. You just listen to the women talk, okay? Yeah, there's these wives that say what they did to help their husbands out, and I'd be like, okay, I register the fact she has a husband. I register the fact she's not abiding to feminism as in we just need to be equals and do everything at the same level. Because let's keep it real. Who wants to be an equal? If you're a woman, women don't want to be equals. They want to have equal say at specific times, but they don't actually want to be men's equals because a lot of the stuff that women complain about now are not because of a lack of equality. Some of them are literally complaining because they're getting a little quote unquote too much equality. There are men who saying that, hey, if we go on a date, let's go Dutch. Now my thing is, Dutch is not a new concept. I'm not going to say it was done a whole lot in the past. I wouldn't know. But I know it's not a new concept to go Dutch on a date. But there's women who say if the man don't pay, she ain't going. So now that's a man looking at a woman as an equal. We both can go. We can both have a nice time, hopefully. And we can both pay for ourselves where it's not going to cost me anything extra as a man. And for you as a woman, I'm only asking you to pay for what you get. Now that's treating somebody equally. And there's a lot of women who are offended at the idea of them actually spending their own money.
And you know what? That makes them true hypocrites, because I distinctly remember, because they did like several shows on it, and one of the more prominent shows back in the day was Three's Company in the late 70s, early 80s. And it was a thing. Women were promoting Let's Do Dutch to show show this side of their feminism, that hey, we want to be seen as equal, this, that, and the third. And if you didn't come at a broad in the beginning, in the first 2 or 3 days, talking about let's do Dutch, they were looking at you like you was trying to have them for your own, but you were in a position, how they would say in their minds, you were trying to be an old school type man, or you wanted to lead them in the true essence of a nuclear family type relationship, and they didn't want that. So we gave them what they want, and look what they went and did. Tried to pull a rug from up under us and turn around and say, oh, no, we're not doing no Dutch thing. If you can't pay and take me out to anything other than a 5-star Red Lobster and above, I don't want it. We seen the way they showed their ass, bro. We seen it.
Well, I'm gonna say this. See, my thing is, going Dutch is young men actually buying into some of the feminism themselves, and they're taking the approach, well, I'm going to treat her as an equal. I'm going to try to be more, quote unquote, progressive. So now I've seen young men try this stuff, okay? And the thing is, the women have not responded well. So at the end of the day, what does this say about the women? The women don't actually want to be equals, because if you want to be an equal, you got to accept being equal all the time. It's not, I'm going to be equal between this hours and this hours. I'm be equal. I want to be equal between 9 and 5, but I don't want to be an equal between, say, 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. I don't want to be equal then. No, now I want to be treated like a woman. It's ridiculous at the end of the day. Now I'm gonna say shout out to Saints of Spades, okay? Because Saints of Spades is already a little upset based on the comments, y'all. I'm gonna say look like they already a little bit upset. Saints of Spades said, seriously, women don't need men. Now notice that sentence that they started off with. Women don't need men. Nobody said women needed men. Okay, so we see that this is a triggered person because they're hearing things that ain't even been said. I just want y'all to notice that. See, this is why when I see certain things, I know where kind of people are. This person just kind of upset because the first thing they're saying as a complete sentence is women don't need men. Nobody said women need men. Nobody called you to say that, hey man, we're gonna do a show about women not need men. That ain't even in the title. Okay, nobody said y'all need us. Now I will say that on a later show. Might say it later in this show, but nobody said it, and at the end of the day, if you don't need us, so what? You don't need to be around. Nobody's telling you to be around men. Okay, the show ain't even about something like that. So you're a triggered person for no reason. Okay, well, I can't say no reason. There's a reason for everything, but whatever triggered you, it ain't had nothing to do with this show. Let's just get that out the way. So let me read what they said. Seriously, women don't need men. Single childless women are happier than married women. According to all studies, men, on the other hand, are much unhappier single. Google it. Now, I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you this. No, men are not unhappier. Okay. Men been men the whole time. Ain't nothing much with us changed. If you believe that women are happier single, then just be single. Nobody's saying we want you to get married. Notice there's nothing here that says get married. Nobody said that. Okay. It says feminism has made women useless. Nobody told you as a feminist to get married. And if you want to get married, knock yourself out. We don't need you. Nobody asking you. See, you're trying to put yourself in a position that you don't hold. You're trying to put yourself as I'm important. No, you're not. We're not asking you. I'm simply pointing out the fact that feminism has made women useless. And if you're a woman who believes that you should be single, I don't even understand why this would offend you. Because I'm saying if you are a feminist, they're useless as women. So why would that offend a feminist? Think about that. That don't make a lot of sense. Why would a man saying feminism has made women useless offend a feminist who don't want to get married? She believes women are better off single. Or if men see those women as useless, that means it helps you get what you want if you actually want that. So why are you upset? It doesn't make sense. Now, shout out to Souls of Spade one more again. They said this discussion is a joke. Men telling women what they want and need. You want and need to date women. You can't because you don't need men because they make their lives worse. Nobody said that. You see how you just interjecting nonsense? This discussion is literally about feminism has made women useless. So why as a man in this particular conversation would I be trying to tell women what they want and need? If you ain't figured it out yet, which I get you haven't, and sometimes folks come here, they're a little bit slow, y'all. And y'all, as the regular folks, y'all, please forgive these people for coming in slow sometimes. It's harder for them to figure out what's going on. A lot of them just don't get it at the end of the day. And a lot of them not smart enough to actually listen and find out the context of what's going on before they actually start making public statements. Now, I don't know this thing. Now, I would much more easier believe that was a black woman in particular that just starts blurting out stuff that doesn't make sense. Because people do it all the time, y'all. I even see it in the comment section where people they'll make a comment on, on the video, and the comment they made, you can clearly tell they didn't listen to anything, didn't watch the video, don't even know what's going on. They just say stuff because they can. It's like small children. You get some small children in the room together, they'll just do stuff because they can. So a lot of them are still acting like small children. And, all you can do is pray for them sometimes, y'all. All you can do is pray for them. But I'm going to say, don't antagonize them in the chat or anything like that. So it is what it is. And you know what? See, y'all, I know y'all don't get to see me on my regular, when I'm out in the regular world. Saints of Spades said define useless. Now, what I was about to say, because this is just me being snappy or whatever, now this dummy want me to define useless. Useless is in the title of the show. You should understand what that is before you said anything. If you want me to define useless, you should have said that before you even made a statement. Because that would be intelligent. Okay? And I'm not trying to get on your case because I don't know who you are as a person. I don't know you. So it's not a personal thing. But what I do encourage black people to do, don't go to public platforms just to make yourself seem stupid. Don't make dumb statements in public. It's okay to just wait a little while before you say something. It's okay to learn what a conversation is about before you give any kind of opinion or make any kind of statement. It's okay. You don't have to be first at the mic just to say anything. Okay? You don't have to be first at the mic. Now, that's more than likely a woman because a lot of women want to be, quote unquote, heard. So they just want anybody to listen to something they saying. Okay? So I don't know if they feel heard at this particular point, but at the end of the day, obviously got no idea what's going on around here. So how about this? Saints of Spade, why don't you just listen a little bit? And then if you actually have a valid thing to say about this particular conversation, then you join in. But why don't you just shut up until you can make a statement with some intelligence with it, okay? That'll actually make sense to the conversation. Just be quiet until you get it, okay? Blurting out stuff just because you have the ability to blurt out stuff is something 3-year-olds do, literally, okay? 3-year-olds come into a room and blurt out stuff. That doesn't show anything intelligent, okay? 3-year-olds do that. But let's get back to it because if you ain't taking that as a warning now, I don't know how to help you, okay? But I probably do, but I just don't care enough about you to help you at the end of the day. I just don't care enough about it. I don't even know you. So you're just not important, really. All right, but getting back to the point, y'all, now, unfortunately, we got people who display how they're useless because that might be a college-educated person, may not be a college-educated person. But even in a simple conversation, they can't even actually show that they have enough intelligence to follow a conversation. And that person obviously has let us know that they don't want to get married. Bravo to you. I don't think nobody wants to marry you anyway. So I don't think you're going to run into a problem. Okay, I don't think you go run into a problem. You don't want to get married. You don't seem like you're worth marrying. You know, and I'm saying from an intelligence standpoint, doesn't look like you would be a smart wife. It doesn't look like you know how to act in a room. If a man took you somewhere, and it seems like you would just start talking without even without reading the room first. It doesn't seem like you'll do anything that men would want a wife to do. So I'm pretty sure you do not have to be concerned about people marrying you. I don't think it's gonna come up. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. I just don't think it's gonna come up. You know, and I'm gonna say shout out to Saints of Spade. I'm gonna say she because it's got to be a woman. It was so fun to make you upset. I don't know why y'all think men are upset. Because number one, you haven't made me upset. You haven't heard me yell at you or do anything. I've literally made fun of you. So why would you perceive I'm upset? Or are you just saying that to make yourself feel better because you feel a little embarrassed at this particular point? And which is what I believe it is. You want somebody to be upset because you want to be important. I literally just said you just show how nobody's going to want to date you and marry you. So you're basically in a conversation that you don't even need to be in. You already safe. Nobody gonna look your way when it comes to a marriage. You do not have to worry about it.
Oh, Roger, she butthurt. She butthurt at what we been saying.
Yeah. Well, you know what? She is butthurt because she just said you are super emotional, angry, and frustrated. How would you know that?
No,
How would you know that?
no.
You ain't been around to see those emotions, so how would you know that? So you are butthurt. All right, but you know what? Let me let my other guests get in instead of making fun of her at the end of the day. Okay, let me let my other guests get in. So Shark says, you got the flow, and we'll get Inspired Truth right behind you. Go ahead, Shark.
Nah, let Inspired Truth go because he said he on a quick break.
Okay, well, go ahead, Inspired Truth.
All right, I guess he ain't there.
Hold on, let's do one. Inspired Truth going once.
Oh, yeah. I had to unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
We hear you.
All right,
Speak
great.
up a little bit, but we can hear you.
All right, so shout out to the host, shout out to the chat. Hope you guys are having a great day. Here's the issue. Like, I always go straight to the macro. What we have is modern feminism is a lie. At the core of it, it's a lie that centers around men and women are the same thing. We're not the same thing. We also don't want the same thing either. So a lot of the times when we have some of the discussions in our male female dynamic, you'll have a whole lot of whataboutisms or a whole lot of trying to frame what a woman is doing as if it's relevant to a man when it's not even what a man actually wants. Like the whole concept of actually having the core of a relationship, which is I have this thing, you have that thing. I get what I want, you get what you want. That kind of like dissipates and just kind of dissolves and goes away. And that's what kind of leads us to this atomized space where we are now, where we're kind of like individuals isolated, stuck being worker drones for the most part. That's the dissolution of like connection and family and all of these different things that keep the social order intact. Stuff that actually kind of causes us to just dissolve into oblivion, if you will. Not to be too dark with it, but that's kind of what I see going on here. Like, and that's why we have to go and have a correction where the pendulum swings back into something that's actually more sustainable, because nobody's getting what they want because we're walking off of working on this false framework that's anathema to reality.
Interesting take. Okay, Shark, you got it, brother.
I strongly disagree with the whole title. Strongly disagree.
Why is that, sir?
I grew up in the 90s, right? Where women wore baggy clothes, they wore their little tight shirt. This whole feminism brought on the sexual revolution. Now girls is dropping like it's hot. You don't have to work for no sex. You literally don't have to do anything but just groom yourself, come outside and say hi. You don't have to take them on dates anymore. You don't have to get them to be your wife and take care of them and fight for them um and buy them you don't have to do none of that no more. Like, we got a blessing right now. Don't let that pendulum swing nowhere. Leave it right where it's at. Free pussy.
This nigga say leave
Free
right there.
effortless sex.
And this is where I disagree with you, brother. What's
Oh,
up,
let me
Rod?
just hold on. What's up, Pastor? Let me just say real quick. I see what you did right there. Shout out to you, Sean. I see what you did right there. And to no comment, he said, "Wow, I was subscribed." No, hey, no comment. We lost that. We lost that channel. This is a new channel, so you got to subscribe to the new channel, brother. That's all it is. Okay, this is a new channel, so go ahead, subscribe. And if y'all like the realest content that you ever gonna find, you might as well subscribe here if you happen to be new. So while he's doing that, the rest of you new folks might as well subscribe too. All right, go ahead, Pastor.
What's up, Roger? What's up, AL? What's up? I mean,
How you doing,
I
brother?
know y'all, and the other brothers on the channel.
Peace, peace.
I have see. I'm glad you went before me, yo, because this is why I disagree. And this is why I disagree with you respectfully.
But hold on. Before you go on, we need you to know he was being sarcastic. He really wasn't being serious. So take that in mind. Okay, now
Okay.
go ahead.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
AL.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll take that in mind that he was being sarcastic. So this is not to attack you, brother, but this is just to talk that attack that mindset that does exist. Because I deal with this with other content creators where they say women are winning. But anyway, what has happened is that what you're saying has made men what you were joking about made men distrust women because men can have such uh because women are so now open and sex has now become so transactional and so open and so free. Men don't trust these women, and that's the thing about feminism. It was okay when women didn't trust men. Men would fight to get that trust from women. But when men don't trust women, that creates a whole nother monster. And that is what feminism has done. The work, I mean, the education, my career, not wanting to do for their family, men can actually fight past that. But what men can't fight back, what men can't fight past is women that they just don't trust. That is to me, that is the fundamental issue with feminism. It's not the jobs, it's not the education, it's not the money, it's not the strong, independent woman. Men have been getting past that for years, centuries, actually. But what we cannot get past is not trusting these women. Y'all got it.
Okay,
Now,
I'm
can I
gonna
I
can I
like that.
rebuttal? Can I give a rebuttal to that real
well,
quick?
I'm gonna say that was a very interesting, very interesting take on it. Very interesting take. Yeah, go ahead and get a rebuttal, and then we're gonna get H Rebels in here, y'all, because he
And,
didn't came up. Go
and
ahead.
it was you got a good point, but if I show you actions that make you not have trust in me or make you no longer trust me, whose fault is that?
Great point.
That's ultimately your fault for not being a trustworthy person. I'm not going to carry I'm not going to carry the burden of the fact that you're not trustworthy. I'm
So
not going
that's
to
their
carry that
fault.
burden.
That's the women's fault that they've showed themselves as untrustworthy.
Yeah. Now,
Well,
now I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. I gotta let H Rebels get in. I don't think it was feminism that personally did that. Now I can see how it helped increase to where it can be seen a lot easier, but I don't think it's feminism that made men not trust women. I think it was women that made men not trust women. But H Rebels, you got the flow, my brother. Go ahead.
Hello to you, Roger, as the host. Hello to all the gentlemen on the panel. Just doing a quick check. Does everybody hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, we hear you fine.
Okay, yeah. I'm just saying because I'm moving, so if I drop off, I'll just go ahead and come on back. Um, but yeah, I'm listening to you from my vehicle. I'm on the road, but check this out. So you're talking about how feminism has ruined women or made them useless or something to that effect. That's the topic, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so ism is a system, right? System, ideology, or belief. So we know what that is, right? And then feminine or feminism, that's basically this ideology or this system or belief that women should have basically equality across the board, same as men. If you believe that, then actually almost anybody could be a feminist. Hell, I mean, to some extent, I could be a feminist. I guess the issue and the problem is this: is that when it comes to actually applying all of that equality across the board, there seems to be this rejection from women from actually doing that. That's the part of where they're having issues with feminism and the ideology, the advocacy of it, and all the issues associated with it. Is that, look, when a push comes to shove, and you really got to do what a man has to do, and you got to really be equal, they're really not trying to actually do it. That's what I'm seeing. So that would be my take on it. So in a way, you could argue that it ruins women, but it's not so much that it ruins women in that sense. It's just they don't really want to apply it in its proper context and structure and format. That would be my overarching observation of this issue and problem. What do you think about that? I'll go ahead and stop right there.
I want
No,
to piggyback on that. I think you have a point there because
Very accurate.
we were sold like fairness and equality, but instead of that, what we got was heathenism, do whatever you want, and selfishness, like greed, like intense greed. And it was kind of like a bait and switch, and there's only so much selfishness and greed and do whatever you want that you can have until a whole system collapses into disorder and dissolves. That's not just like with the women, it's also kind of like with the upper echelon guys when you kind of go like behind the scenes, like behind the paywall, and you start listening to how they're talking. It's like, okay, so you got rosters, but these chicks don't know that they have to actually compete to even be on the roster like it's an NBA team.
So what
Yeah.
y'all saying is
now,
they don't believe in Title Nine. Title
well,
Nine
hold
was
on, hold on,
okay.
hold
You
on,
got it.
hold on, hold on. I gotta give a shout out. I got a $10 cash out from Struggling Brother. Hey, shout out to you, Struggling Brother. And I'm supposed to say, I love Struggling Brother's name, y'all. I just love his name because when you come out as Struggling Brother, that y'all know the opposite going on. That brother ain't struggling in a good minute. And also shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast. I appreciate your cash app as well. We got a $5 cash app from him. So thank you very much, my brother. Appreciate it.
Most welcome.
All right, go ahead, Pastor.
So what y'all talk about is so Title Nine, right? The women were so slick with their feminism in Title Nine. They took Title Nine and applied that to nothing but sports. Title Nine ain't got a damn thing to do with just sports. It got to do with it got something to do with equality amongst children, sports, education, economics, education, finance. Title IX is supposed to be equality across the board. So I agree with that, brother. They do not agree with the legislation that they even walk and they even they protest for Title IX and they don't even believe in it. Because Title IX will be if Title IX was real, there'd be no such thing as spousal support. If Title IX was real, there'd be no such thing as child support. Because everything is equal across the board. Everything is 50-50. That's what y'all hate that 50-50 conversation. Y'all got it, brothers. Thank y'all for letting me speak.
All right, no problem. But I'm gonna say it goes beyond just a Title IX. Title IX is just something. Is just a product of feminism. That is not feminism is a product of Title IX. So it's beyond just that. But I do see your point. But we got no placeholder who's joining us, so I'm gonna go ahead and give him the mic. You got it, my brother.
What's going on, Roger? How are you guys doing?
Doing great, brother. Doing great.
Peace placeholder.
What's going on, Shark? AL, Revel, Top Store. But yeah, I actually came up because I wanna fundamentally undermine any positive value in feminism. So, because I think feminism, you are right. Feminism makes women use this, Roger, because the way I see it is that due in part to the nature of man and woman, and the weaker being and the stronger being, and the being that carries the child and the being that carries the spark. These fundamental biological parts in things, they get disrupted when you create social systems on top of them that do not adhere and understand these fundamental foundations. What I mean by that is that in a society, it is not necessary for the women to have equality in the way. Can I finish my point? Equality in the way that it's deemed, quote unquote, having to participate in the economy. The the fundamental difference between equality in that way and just having a society that benefit women as they are, like their biology, is where feminism is. It makes the women useless because in order for them to go against that, they have to first make the men monsters. And the second thing they have to do is that they have to find a way for the women to maintain themselves in lieu of the men. You saying? So those two fundamental elements of why I disagree with, because it is in a society, it is for you to be to fundamental, it would be most logical for the men to fill the positions at 100% rate, and whatever is left over is what you would essentially, because that would essentially facilitate constant hypergamy, because the men will always be hired at 100%, and they will always be seen as a more attractive option. But that's my quick opening. But
All right. Well, we got Champ Call for Life who's come up as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and let him get the mic. Champ, you got it, brother. Champ, you good? Champ, you on mute. Champ, Champ Call for Life. You on mute right now. Okay, Champ going once. Champ going twice. Okay, we gonna move on for now. Champ, you got to get in when you're ready. Now I'm gonna say this. Y'all have brought up some very interesting points, and I didn't want to stop anybody's point that they were gonna bring to this particular discussion. Now, what I'm gonna do is say that I think a lot of men, we've looked at stuff in not necessarily the best way, because I'm not gonna have an issue with a woman in particular being a feminist. My thing is, if you believe in feminism, that's on you. Now, the issue is I'm gonna start treating you as an equal. Now, I know you're gonna have a problem with that because, yeah, if we can't go out unless you're paying because you're a feminist. You see, I can't be a gentleman towards you because you're a feminist. If I hold the door for you, you got to hold the door for me. If we do anything together, you're going to have to do just as much of work as I have to do. And I'm going to look for you to do stuff that has been centered around men. So I think men have to be a little bit more, we got to communicate a little bit more about how feminism makes a woman useless, and then have her do the stuff that we do. And I do think this should be encouraged, especially amongst even younger men, where we do stuff, we do more physical stuff at that point. So, like, if you believe in feminism, you should help us move. Why? Because when we move, you would call some guys over so we can move stuff. That's normally how it goes, right? You call some guys over, we pack up trucks, we move it from this place to that place. And a lot of this is going to happen when you're younger, because, that's when, because, we get older, we start paying people to do stuff on a more regular basis. So now, if I believe in, if you tell me you believe in feminism, when I go to help somebody move, you got to come help, because that's what men do. And you got to start doing a whole bunch of stuff for free, because that's what men do. You got to, when we go out and party and kick it, now you got to pay, because that's what men do. Now, if we kick it where everybody pay for themselves, you got to have your own. Now, if we kick it where one guy would pay for the whole thing on this particular time, where you got to have your turn. See, a lot of men, we will say we okay with feminism, but you don't want to treat women as equals when it don't benefit them. Look, you are equal, so you got to pay. You got to pay for this. We normally, when we kick it, somebody gonna pay for all of us. Now it's your turn. But see, men don't really do that to women, so they don't really have to experience the equality standpoint. You get into some type of job role, men like to let the women take the easier part of a job, because what she hears, she part of the team. Well, she part of the team. Can't she do exactly what I do? well, we don't want no woman to do this. Why are we even talking like this if we at work? Every place, and I told you I done had a lot of jobs. Okay, every time I was working, and they started dividing jobs and things like that, and they would say, "Why don't we have her do this, or why don't we have these days do that?" I would literally always say something about it. I was like, "Ain't she getting paid like I'm getting paid? Ain't we taking the same check home, basically?" So no, I want that job because it's an easier job. I think we should trade off on these jobs every day or every week. We should trade off on because that job is easier than this job, but we're gonna get paid the same amount of money. So why should she get that job all the time and I got to do this job all the time? Anytime discussions like that came up, now I'm not saying it was a whole lot of things where those type of discussions came up, but when they did, I definitely took advantage of them and pressed upon the fact that these women should be treated as equal because we at work. And if you making the money I'm making, you're supposed to be able to do the stuff I'm doing.
Yeah,
Now,
see, so Roger, that actually goes to my original point, which is that's the improper application of the feminist construct, meaning that they're supposed to be doing the exact same thing the men are doing. Now, I'm gonna tell you what men get this wrong is that we may actually believe in feminism to some extent, but we treat women differently underneath that construct, meaning that we don't have the same expectations of them that they do of us, so we give them a whole lot of latitude. Like you're just talking about that, basically. But and the example that you gave, both of y'all are getting the same pay. You got the same duties, tasks, and responsibilities, which means she's got to do the actual job and not just take the easier task while she's getting the same pay, right?
yeah, that didn't make sense to me.
Now, let me ask you. I want to challenge you a bit here, Roger. I want to challenge you a bit, right? Just real quick, because I'm gonna have to take off in a little bit. But I want to challenge you on something. So, is it possible for a man, well, let's say men and women to operate under a feminist construct while the men are doing what it is they're supposed to do, and the women are actually doing what they're supposed to do while that man actually benefits under that construct? Is that possible? Do you think that is, or is that really patriarchy?
Once you say feminism, it's not possible because feminism seeks to put females in a superior position. So it's
Okay,
not possible under feminism.
okay, so women really want patriarchy then. They really want
No,
patriarchy. They want it in a
they don't
way
want
that
they don't want patriarchy because patriarchy means the person with the who puts in the most and is the most responsible also makes decisions. So they
but
But
that
don't
what
doesn't
the
want
hell?
patriarchy.
No, they
okay,
want matriarchy, not
but Roger,
patriarchy.
that doesn't mean that women don't benefit under a patriarchy.
No,
That doesn't mean
women do benefit under patriarchy, but I'm gonna say they don't want it because in patriarchy, the thing that was synonymous with patriarchy, the men would do more and put more into stuff, and then the women do get their benefits. But if you actually want a patriarchy, that means the guy also has a say so about all his work and effort and money that he put in stuff. So they
that,
don't want patriarchy. They do want the benefits of patriarchy. I'm not gonna say they don't want that. They want the benefits of patriarchy, but they don't want a man to be in charge. So
well,
it can't be patriarchy if they don't want the man in charge.
so they're the ones that's doing it wrong. Men are the ones who are doing it right because we work on behalf of the women and the children. We support them. We do everything we're supposed to do to make sure that they're provided for, taken care of, safe and secure, all of that shit, right? All of that stuff. But then they're going to sit here and try to tell us what the decisions are going to be. No, if the man is leading and doing what he's supposed to do, then he has overall responsibility, leadership, guidance, and direction for that entire operation.
But feminism doesn't work on a right and wrong paradigm. I get you, brother. I'm not disagreeing with you one bit. I want the other brothers to speak too, so I'm gonna shut up after this. Feminism does not work on a right and wrong paradigm.
Now, I do agree with that because it works on a female superior paradigm, and it's female superiority no matter what. Whatever, if whatever needs to be destroyed for a female to be in a superior position, feminism says that's the way to do it. But we got
Okay.
champ card for
Hold on,
life.
hold on. This is the conundrum, though. Let me finish out what H Rebel was saying. They want everything that H Rebel was saying. They want that protection. They want you to take care and provide for them kids, do all that. But what this is the asterisk mark. What they don't want is you to tell them how to move, walk, talk, and act while you do everything they want you to do. They want to be free to talk their shit, say what they want, go where they want, do what they want, and have their hand out and say, you give me, I'm gonna take, and you still take care of this house, this home, and these kids. But I am not going to listen to you. That's what they want. They want the asterisk. They want it all plus that. But they can't have it. So that's what pisses them off.
All right, y'all got to get these other two gentlemen in. Black Huru is here, so I'm gonna give Black Huru the mic. And Champ Car for Life went out and came back, so I'm hoping he got his audio situation taken care of. I want to get him in too. So Black Huru, you got it, my brother.
Hey, Roger, if Champ's been waiting a minute, and if he is good to go, I'll defer to him.
Okay, Champ. Hopefully you got yourself situated now. Let's try you again.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Okay, yeah, we good now. We good.
Okay, good. Happy Tuesday for everybody. Shout out to y'all and everything else. RIP to the late Sly Stone and everything else. You know,
Here for the great Sly Stone. We need to
yeah,
talk more about Sly Stone, but I'll defer for now. Here.
yeah. But anyway, feminism to me, the ideology has evolved into more of a superiority movement for women, particularly, black women and everything else. First of all, you have to remember it was a group of white women that started it. Because they were getting tired of their men and everything else. They were tired of, just, listening to the men and everything else. So they were like, screw it. Let's start our own movement and everything else. It has some good things, when it comes to voting rights and everything else. But as it has been going on over the last 60 years, it's basically more of a granocracy type of movement and everything else. And basically, it's just allowed ladies, you know, to be all mouthy, finger pointing and everything else. I do as I want and everything else. And what the brother said just a moment ago, you know, they want the men, to take care of their ish and everything else, but they don't want to be held accountable at all. They want us men to take their responsibility for their own actions and their own, miss opportunities and everything else. So that's what I wanted to say about the feminist movement and how it's just basically just warped into a granocracy movement.
Well, I just want to say real quick, I almost say it never evolved. It's just men are starting to notice what the purpose was in the beginning. Because the beginning was always female superiority. It's just a lot of guys never knew and never caught on to just now. But it never changed. It was supposed to be female superiority from its very beginning. But that's my opinion on based on the information that I've been able to see. But Black Rule, you got the flow, my brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Roger. I hope you and the gentlemen on the panel, folks in the public chat, are doing well. Feminism was just another leg or prong in the white supremacist paradigm. If you look at the creation of feminism, or certainly in the United States, I mean, I guess technically it sort of has its origins in Europe, particularly, I guess, Western Europe. But as far as the United States is concerned, I mean, it's not a coincidence that feminism basically sort of got its initial real sort of public grounding just post Civil War. And a lot of the effort and energy behind it was about white women essentially usurping rights and privileges that black men had fought, bled, killed, and died to get. A freedom, a country that was made by the valiancy of black men. I mean, Abraham Lincoln himself said, hey, if we don't bring black men into this thing, we're going to lose it. And if you look at what happened during the Civil War, and I'm emphasizing this point, there were more than twice as many Union soldiers that died during the Civil War than Confederate soldiers. Confederates was kicking their asses throughout most of that war. So it was only when they introduced black men to that fight that the tide was turned. Now, I'm emphasizing that point to say this right after that, right after black men saved this country, well, essentially made this country. I mean, I guess you have 2 or 3 or 4 countries if that war is lost, right? You have a
Mm-hmm.
confederacy. Maybe you have a different. Maybe Texas is its own separate country. I don't know, or California. I mean, who knows what happens if that war
Yeah.
goes the other way, right? So right after black men saved this so-called union, you have a group of white bitches get together and decide we want what these black men, these niggers, fought, bled, killed, and died to make. That is the origin of feminism in this country. And if you look at how it has been executed throughout its history, every step of the way is about usurping what black men were supposed to do. When you look at all the civil rights legislation, there's always this horning in of white women into something that black men have struggled for, had been lynched for, had dog bitten for, right? So feminism has always been primarily a scheme to steal from black men, first and foremost. And we don't emphasize that enough. We don't talk enough about that, particularly in this space. But when you look at what has happened historically, all down the line, any effort of progression at all for black men, there have been the introduction, the wholesale interdiction, subterfuge of feminism, unfortunately, with many black women being willing and able, and in some cases even happy co-conspirators to that effort. And that's especially been the case the last 60 odd years. So yeah, first and foremost, feminism has been about usurping black men. First and foremost, it's been disguised as a lot of other things. But if you look at the whole history of it, it's been about stealing from black men.
Black Guru was cooking. Can I say something
Yeah.
real quick, Roger?
Go
You
ahead.
know that the first feminism, Black Guru was just cooking like a mug. He was just cooking right just then. Did you know that the first feminist convention had Carver? What's his name? What's his name? What's his name? Carver. Why?
George
What's his?
Washington
George
Carver.
He was the
Washington.
first. He was the first speaker at a feminist convention. Guru cooking right now. I did not tie that feminism came off the back of black male bodies. But he is cooking when he say that.
What?
Because the first man to speak was Carver. It wasn't no white man. It wasn't no
What?
Indian man. It was
What?
Carver.
This is the thing. Carver didn't have the benefit of what we have. We got the benefit of hindsight. So, you weren't gonna be able to see what they was really trying to do back then. Because as I've said, it was always about putting females in a superior position. Why it was accepted in America was because you had a nigger problem. See, white folks then we done won the war because the black guys came in. We didn't even want them to fight, but we had to bring the black guys in. The black guys came and saved our behind as a country. So now we got to do something with these niggas. That's what it was. So how do we do something where we acting like we're trying to be more right by these niggas, but still hold these niggas back at the same time? So now we're willing to accept feminism because it wasn't a new idea. It was the time frame is why they simply accepted the idea. But I do want to get to a point I was trying to make because I do think when it comes to feminism itself, that men are going to have to be more forthwith with the women when it comes to how we look and apply feminism. Meaning, hey, you a feminist, so therefore I can't do anything for you. And I think if a lot of men would take the attitude on, and you can even claim it's feminism because feminism supposedly is supposed to be about equality because that's how they advertise it. Look, man, I'm just trying to be an equal with you. I can't help you because I wouldn't help a man in the same position. You know,
Yeah,
if you were struggling as a man and I knew you were struggling as a man, truth be told, I wouldn't care. So because I wouldn't care if a man had your same struggle, I ain't gonna do squat for you. And I think men should definitely start letting women know that The reason I can't do anything for you is because you're a feminist. See, we've never made feminism an enemy when we should have. You know,
Raj,
go ahead.
let me tell you something. You know, however you may feel about what President Obama or what President Trump is doing with DEI and affirmative action, Black Guru made a very good point about what feminism has done. And let me tell you, the fact that the president's getting rid of that program and everything else, we now are seeing a lot of these so-called quote-unquote feminist women are just crying out their eyeballs because of it, because they have benefited from the backs of black men during the civil rights era and everything else. They hijacked the civil rights movement basically and everything else. We didn't get anything out of affirmative action. All the other programs that
slow down, chat. This is my thing. I don't feel no way about it because a lot of stuff don't make me feel nothing. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. I look at what matters at the end of the day. Feelings are great for certain things. Feelings aren't great for everything. In order to solve a feminist problem, you do have to kind of change a climate. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you talk about doing it from a political standpoint, I ain't in position to change that. But what I am in position to do, and what every single man is in position to do, is to start making it a very personal thing. Look, I can't do anything for you because you're a feminist. I go on a date with a woman, I see that she's a feminist, I cannot pursue this any longer because you're a feminist. I talk to her on the phone, she starts showing me she's a feminist. I just tell her, look, you know what? You seem cool to a certain degree, but it sounds like you're a feminist. I don't want to really be bothered. See, this is something I do on a regular basis. I personally do not like to be involved with feminists in any kind of relationship standpoint whatsoever. And I don't hide the fact of what it is. I've told women directly, you sound like a feminist, so therefore I don't want to pursue anything with you. See, women have never been made to see that feminism is a problem, so they're going to pursue it. And if you think about it from a logical standpoint, if nobody presented this thing to you as a problem, why wouldn't you pursue it? So if you think about it from their standpoint sometime.
Quick question for you, Roger. Is there a level of feminism that you're willing to deal with?
My thing is, why be a feminist at all? Because if feminism don't do nothing for me,
here's the problem without feminism, Roger. To kind of emphasize the point, I think where Pastor is going. If you exclude black women from feminism, you essentially unemployed 90% of them. I mean, if you strictly enforce the no feminism policy on American women, I mean, what are they doing? What are they able to do?
Well,
they're able to be mothers and wives.
So I think what I would recommend you do is kind of consider and refine, frankly, what are acceptable levels of feminism.
Yes.
Because otherwise,
because you have feminists now.
You ain't gonna be getting hardly no woman that ain't a beneficiary of feminism.
No, I am not saying women can't like have jobs and things like that. That's totally fine with me at the end of the day. But you as a person have to have a belief system. If your belief system is in feminism, I ain't gonna do nothing with you for real because I already know you're useless to me. I can't make a wife out of this person and have a happy life. That doesn't work with a feminist. A feminist is about female superiority, regardless of how much damage it does to things happening around her. Why would I get into a marriage with a woman who believes I have to be superior? And if the whole family is destroyed, that's fine as long as the woman's in a superior position, because that's what feminists believe in. If we pay attention to the things they say and the things they actually do, that's what they actually believe in. I don't care if a woman has a job. If your job is helping your family, it's a good job. Now, if your job is not helping your family, it's a bad job. That's how I look at it. So if a woman's doing something that somehow her going to work helps her family advance, I'm good with it. But being realistic, most black women with a job who have a man, that job is anti-family. That's how she uses that job. It doesn't have to be that way, but she uses that job to not listen to her husband. She uses that job to not make good decisions based on what the family is doing. She uses that job to not start a family business. She uses that job to not properly train her kids. She uses that job to not properly take care of the house. A
Well,
lot of stuff that
that's
she
why
should do.
I said earlier
Yeah,
you talk about 90% of women. That's why I said that. That's why I said
and
that.
I want
Because I mean,
and I want to say she also.
in all that negative criteria you described, what percentage of American black women you gonna be able to exclude from all of that?
No, I totally get what you're saying, and I care nothing about the percentage. If it goes to 100%, I'm fine with that. The percentage don't mean anything to me. I'm a principle person. Once I understand a principle, I stick with that principle. Unless somebody show me a better way, that's just what I'm rolling with. So I don't care who's anti this or anti that, or who's pro this or pro that. The numbers will work themselves out. That's just how I am. I'm not gonna be in the fold over the fact that, oh, well, I like these women, but they don't believe in this. No, screw them. If I gotta say screw 100% of them, I'm fine with that too. It doesn't make a difference to me.
That's
And
a
my thing is, as a man, it shouldn't make a difference to me.
that's a dangerous gamble, Roger. I hear you and I agree with you, but I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards what. That's a dangerous gamble, bro.
No, there is no gamble. That means
Mhm.
it ain't there. If I'm not getting what I
I mean,
want out the deal,
all I'm
there's no
saying
reason
is
for me to do it.
there's very few American women that are excluded from feminism, excluded from benefits. Someone earlier referenced Title IX that influences all of American education throughout the country, all of American education. So they
What I'm
all are
saying is
influenced by
from an end
Title
from an end.
IX. I'm just
No, no.
saying I'm saying from a practical standpoint, I'm a dude out here in the world. I like women. I want a woman. Maybe I want a family, right? I mean, I'm talking about practically. How am I gonna actually navigate through that with this 100% anti-feminism stance? When
No.
everything that 90-some% of the women, they all have been raised and bred and indoctrinated into feminism. All of them.
Get a
What
plane ticket,
Yep.
Uber,
what
Yeah.
like
what
you
I'm
tell us all the
what
time. Get you a
hold on,
plane
hold on.
ticket and
What I'm
move
saying
on.
is, y'all, look, a lot. Yeah, women have benefited from feminism. That has nothing to do with her personal mindset. If her personal mindset is I'm going to use these things to help myself, my husband, my family, she good. Now, if
Yeah,
the
but
thing,
that's not. But
if hold on, if you're going to use these things to be anti-family, I have no use for you. It's very simple at the end of the day.
but
She didn't create the world she was born into. She has to accept the world she was born into, and make choices based on what she believes in. It's just like I said earlier, most black women go to college to not listen to a man. And that's why most black women who went to college don't make good wives. Because their mindset is I'm not gonna listen to my husband. I'm gonna make sure I'm in position where my husband's words don't mean anything. Now, why would I be dumb enough to try to make anything happen as far as a relationship standpoint with a woman who literally went to school and got in debt? A school she did not have to go to and took on debt she did not have to take on just so she could not listen to me. My thing is just leave her over there. It's not a big deal.
no, I agree with your premise, Roger. In terms of I also agree with the idea of not propagating negativity. So if you conclude that it says that she is not for you, then going forward. You have to understand that essentially you will have to create alternatives because the environment that exists
Yeah. I
doesn't
mean, that's a
facilitate.
Well, I'm
yeah.
getting to
I
how we
mean,
can create. Hold on, champ, because I'm getting to how we can create an alternative. But I gotta let this brother get in because he didn't. I like feminism in three ways has has joined us. So I guess we're gonna hit at least three ways. Feminism is great. So I like feminism in three ways. You got the flow, my brother.
Well, if he ever come, I got after him.
That nigga can't even speak on that
And
bullshit.
I like feminism in three ways. Do you hear me?
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
Okay, there
we
you go.
Okay, okay. Let me clarify. I like feminism in a three-way. That's the only.
Yeah, Lord,
Okay, it's hot sauce. Never mind. It's hot sauce. Never mind. It's hot sauce. Never mind.
That's the only time they all can take control, and the strip club too. I don't mind in the strip club either. I don't mind. But I don't know if this has been said before, but when we're looking at feminism, we're looking at a European construct that was designed as a psyop, Germany to be exact, Marxism that was designed to take down the Axis powers in World War II. I don't the Allies. Sorry, the Allies. The Axis was German. The Allied powers during World War One. However, white people being white people, they began to use feminism as a white supremacy tool. And unfortunately for black people, unfortunately for us, feminism has been the greatest white supremacy tool ever used. Because not only does it make our women useless and women in general useless, it makes women sour and bitter against men, making them anti-man.
Yeah.
That's why you can go to middle schools today and you can talk to 12-year-olds, and 12-year-old black girls will tell you they don't need a father to raise their children. They see family as a mother and child at 12 years old. So this is so imagine the tooth is rotten to its core because the core is the youth. And this what makes feminism so immensely powerful that not only is it learned in higher education, it permeates down to the youth. Women are the prize. Women are independent, right? A woman can be a father, right? On Father's Days, there's Hallmark cards to congratulate females for being the best father and mothers. All this heinous stuff that children learn through observation or direct brainwashing. And this is why feminism is so dangerous. Now, the second aspect of danger, so I hear Roger's point having a Trump style zero policy on feminism, right? He's trying to make it out like the Gestapo is kicking out these immigrants. Hey, man, this is the era of Trump. Go big or go home. But the problem is that niggas like to get their dick sucked. And considering that feminism has permeated all the way down to children, it's going to be rough to have a zero policy. And I pass the mic on that. Because dicks don't suck itself.
But but how's
but that's a good point, unfortunately, because feminism really indoctrinated a lot of these female children and everything else, especially the teenagers and everything. They get all that talking points from their elder women.
Well, my thing is this. Of course, people gonna accept it if you accept it. You can't accept it and then say it's a problem. Because at the end of the day, look, as a woman, you have to understand your job is to help me. If you don't understand that your job is to help me, I have no use for you. Now, my thing is how that's going to affect any person from an individual standpoint is what it is. Now, if other men take that on, you know what that's going to create? Help for women. Now, if you don't take that on, you're not going to get help for women.
Roger,
Roger, what can a woman, what can a woman do for you?
Let me say this, Roger. I'm going to stand with you unless I know what that mouth do. But as long as I don't know what that mouth do, I'm going to stand with you, brother. I'm going to stand with you.
But besides birthing children, what can these women do now for you that you can't do? And besides having sex with you, what can they do? That's why I said feminism made it dope for us right now. All you got to do is just have your stuff together, and you getting it sucked. You doing whatever you want to do, and then you go fishing with the crew, and you let them do whatever you want to do.
Well, my thing is that's false too. Do you have to have your stuff together to get your dick sucked? Clearly not.
You proved
No,
my point. You
you know
proved
what
my point. You proved my point. Thank you.
No, but feminism. I have to push back. Feminism absolutely does not make it great for us. Feminism has destroyed family, the nuclear family and or the generational family. If you have seniors living with you, it has absolutely destroyed that. When you're having children that feel that one parent is insignificant or obsolete, that is heinous.
I can agree with that.
Yeah,
Exactly. It
look,
leads to parental
the
alienation.
infrastructure of everything we enjoy is primarily based on husband, wife, father, mother. That's the foundation of everything. The
That's the
foundation
original.
of every major. If you take away from that, you can live in creature comforts temporarily. You can enjoy being, a free willing, free dicking, bachelor, all that stuff temporarily. But sooner rather than later, the shit's gonna all unravel. And when it
Exactly.
unravels, hell's gonna be brought down on everybody and everything because then nobody cares. There are no rules. There are
Mm-hmm.
no morals. It's who's the faster gun or who's got the greater dick or who it's all just an open, free, open, wild kind of scenario.
Wild Wild
Where one
West.
minute some guy is your friend, the next minute the guy is gang raping your wife and your daughter, and then the next minute everybody's dead.
I
So
Well,
mean,
be
this
that's
is
careful
the
about
thing.
this whole party thing that we think because this shit can unravel pretty quickly. I mean, Trump is bringing the fucking Marines out to LA. If
Mm-hmm.
y'all don't know that that's a bad scenario, without even talking about whatever view you have about that scenario, we all have some complex views about that scenario. Nigga, when you bring in the Marines into the second largest city in the United States, that's a fucking emergency scenario. A whole lot of bad shit can start happening after that.
And you know what, Black
So
Euro
just be kind
women's
of careful about just be careful about how easily everybody, whatever, we can do whatever. Be careful about that shit because this shit can fall apart real quick. History says that.
Uber already has fallen apart.
and another thing,
No,
this
it ain't fell
feminism is
apart
a
yet, bro. It is not. It is not fall. We're sitting here comfortably talking on the fucking internet. Shit has not fallen apart yet.
and
all right.
feminism is a national security issue because these
But,
women
but
are sleeping with men. Yes, it is because feminism gives these women access to men across the world. And you think they bringing in the most savory, nicest? You think they bringing in the most savory, nicest men to sleep with? Feminism is a national security issue. That's the reason we got to shut this shit down, dog.
well,
You seen them judge. You
well,
seen that judge that got arrested for protecting illegal men.
okay. Look. I'm not saying women can't have jobs and do stuff. That's not the issue. Them being employed is not an issue. It's what you do with what you got that turns into an issue. And like I said, the main issue is that the woman is using it to not listen to a man, but they don't also want to take on responsibility. See, when you buy into feminism, y'all, I'm trying to say it in practical ways that's affecting men that they understand and that hits home. Buying into feminism is why men start moving in with women
Thank you.
because they bought into feminism. Okay. Now, as a man, you move in with a woman. Now, my thing is, you don't have a stable place to live at that point because women are known for being unstable at any random time when there's an emotional spark. When she gets upset about something, doesn't mean the man has actually did her wrong or anything like that. When she gets upset, she just do stuff based on its feeling concept. The average woman who's in prison right now just got upset with somebody and did something ridiculous because they was upset. That's the average
Mhm.
woman who's in prison. Now that's that. When it comes to men, there are some men in prison because they lost control of their emotions and did something stupid. But a lot of men are in prison because they just simply tried to do something they didn't get away with. They tried to rob somebody, but they didn't get away with it. Women, for the vast majority of women are in prison simply because they got upset about something and did something stupid. That is the vast
No,
majority of them.
I
Okay.
disagree. I disagree, Roger. I've been to jail. I've been to jail like 3 times, and the majority of men are in jail behind something dealing with a woman. Because when
I'm
I was in jail,
well.
when I was in
Hold,
jail,
hold on, hold on.
okay, you
Dealing
got
with
it, you got it.
something behind a woman does not mean you didn't do something. When you go rob somebody, normally, if you actually trace that, it's still behind women too, but it's making an attempt to take somebody else's stuff. A lot of women simply got mad at a moment and did something stupid. That's different. Men do all kinds of stuff. Most criminals are trying to get women, but
Okay, so that
we
man
do.
was desperate for a woman
No,
at
no,
that
no, no.
time,
But
Roger.
it's a difference between doing something irrational because I'm mad versus I'm planning something out to get an outcome. Even though
I
I'm
don't think
planning
there's no
something
difference.
illegal, well, there
I don't
is a
think there's no
difference.
difference, Roger.
It's a huge difference between getting upset and blowing your brains out and me planning to rob a bank. There's a
I
huge
don't.
difference between that.
It's just so let's go to a fictional movie like John Q. What John Q did was, we can look at it as right, but overall it was an emotional impulsive decision based off a woman. Roger,
Actually,
I've been to jail, Roger, like
John
3 times,
John
and I
John
ain't proud of it.
John Q was not an emotional, flat, flare of the moment decision. The man was trying
It
to save his son.
was.
No, he was trying to save his son's life, and he was willing to deal with whatever came with trying to save his son's life. That was not an emotional decision. It's something he planned out. He went and got a gun to go to the hospital to get his son's life saved and was willing to kill himself over. That was not no emotional eruption of him. That was him going to save his son's life regardless of cost.
I
He
And it was
already
disagree,
black.
Roger,
decided.
because his wife called him and said, John, do something.
His
And
what?
then he emotionally had to respond to that
No,
and
no,
do something.
brother. At the end of the day, he made a decision that I am willing to do whatever it takes to get my son's life saved, and he went about it in a serious way. He did not make an emotional flash in the pan. It's not like the same thing as you out at the club and somebody step on your foot, you get upset and you shoot him with a gun. That's an emotional eruption.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah,
to
not
save your son is not an emotional
Yeah,
eruption.
emotional. If it was just purely emotion, John would just been killing folks and stuff like that. No, he made, for the circumstances that was presented in that movie, he made a very rational and even necessary situation given the emergency of the impending demise of his son.
yeah, and
Everything
not
he
only
did in
that.
that movie, it was extreme, but as it was presented in that movie, it was rational.
Yeah, not only that, he did it after he exhausted every means possible by working with the system, where he tried to work within the system in every way he could.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he was working outside of the system because the system that should have been helping him failed him in every way.
Right. He ran out of available options that he
Yes,
knew
there
that
you
he
go.
could execute. And that's all it was. He ran out of available options that he figured he can execute. Now, the thing about men buying into feminism, like I said, you as a man, you'll move in with a woman. Now we know women can get emotional and have emotional eruptions. We know women throw men out of homes. They'll invite you back later once they calm down, but they'll put you out in that moment. That's an emotional eruption. I thought he did this, or I thought he forgot my birthday, and they'll kick a dude out. And so at the end of the day, if you as a man buy into feminism, you'll move in with a woman, even though she ain't the most stable person to head no household. But we'll do it anyway because we done bought into the nonsense at the end of the day. Now, for me, I won't move in with a woman because she ain't my mama. My mama's the only woman I quote unquote ever lived with. All right. I ain't never lived with a sister. I wouldn't even live with my sister. It would take life-threatening situations for me to live with a sister. Real talk. And those are my own sisters. And I know they love me. And I know they wouldn't just do me like anybody else, but they're still women at the end of the day. Okay? They're still women. They might be my sisters, but they're
Roger,
women.
Roger, would you have sex with an unmarried woman?
Would I have sex with an unmarried woman? Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that not feminist?
I'm not saying it
I
ain't
mean,
feminism.
shouldn't you wait? Should you wait until you're formally engaged and married to have sex with that woman? Isn't
No,
that the proper traditional thing to do?
no.
No, it is proper traditional. Yeah, it is. It absolutely. If you
So
think about it,
why are you having sex with this unmarried woman? Aren't
Because
you
that's your
contributing to feminism?
no, that's your choice as a
Let Roger
man.
answer the question. Let Roger answer the question. Now, this is an unmarried woman having sex. She's got a job. She's having sex. Maybe she's got her own apartment. Paying her own bills,
mm-hmm.
and you laying down with her. How are you
Mm-hmm.
not contributing to feminism?
I ain't really thought about that. I mean, possibly that
I
contributed to
mean,
feminism.
and I'm saying, well, because she's living her independent life, and you contributing to her independent life because you laying down with her.
The only reason
But
why I
you
Outside the
know,
disagree,
auspices of God and Christianity and all that stuff,
I
right?
mean, feminism does make hoes available. We can be real about that. Because if it wasn't for feminism, we
Right,
wouldn't have so many hoes out here.
it also makes whoremonger.
it does, and I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that
And when you
Dr.
lay
Hero.
down with it, when you lay down, you're unmarried and she's unmarried. You're a whoremonger.
I won't call me a homemongerer.
Okay,
I'm just using the language y'all created. I'm not religious, so it don't really matter to me. But
No,
I'm just
I
saying.
mean, I do get your point, and that's why I said earlier that you can't. The woman was born into a world. It's about what she's going to do with the world she was born into. Because I think if people start making it a
No,
more
but when you lay down with her, you're a co-conspirator.
But you can
Because you
still
can
make her an
choose
honest
not
woman, Black
to
Yoru.
be a
You
part.
you
You
No, you
can
can't.
choose to not be a part of that.
and even when
I
you
mean,
lay
you make a point, but that's why I'm saying it's about what you do with the stuff. Because at the end of the day,
exactly.
at the end of the day, I ain't gonna force no woman to have sex with me. You know what I'm saying? But let's keep it real.
It
If
ain't
I don't do
about
it,
forcing her. And no one said anything about you forcing her. The reality is that this is a feminist, and you're laying down with this feminist. So how are
Wait,
you
so
not
we
a
should.
feminist co-conspirator?
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm gonna say realistically, yeah, that's what you get when you're a feminist. You just get some dick. You
Well,
don't get nothing else.
hold on. Does
Right,
premarital sex
right.
automatically make her a feminist? Black Yoru, let me ask you a question.
No,
Does premarital
I'm
sex
saying if she's a feminist and she's living a feminist life, and you enjoy romance in Congress with her, are you not a conspirator or contributor to feminism? Of course you are. You validate her life by being with her. You validated everything she's done up to that point by laying down with her.
But that's assuming that every woman that's having premarital sex is a feminist. Now now you make a good point, Euro. You make
Did
a
you hear
very
my
good point.
description? Yeah, hold on. Did you hear what I described? I
I hear what
said
you
that this is an
described
independent woman. She's got her own career, her own job. She's paid. How's that not feminist?
because
She's
even though
living
she has
independent. How's that not feminist?
Wait, can I
because
answer? Can I?
even though she has these things, she might not have met the right man yet.
No,
She's
no,
That's
living
the
an
reason why I'm holding
independent.
out.
She
what?
is living an independent life. How is she not feminist?
She
She
is
How,
ain't with her
Uru. She
daddy paying her bills. Wait, her dad. She's not with her father in her father home waiting for her father to give her away to some worthy man and to pay some dowry and to pay for her wedding. None of that's happening here.
no, I agree
That's
with you,
what's
Uru.
supposed to happen traditionally,
Uru, she is a
right?
feminist. But if I'm supporting women having jobs, if I'm supporting women going to college, I can't support women having sex either.
I'm not saying what you cannot do. What did I say that you cannot do?
No, you
What did
said.
I
Oh, you said
describe
you.
that you
No,
cannot
you
do?
said
What
You
I
said
have
if you
done
have
is
sex with that woman,
describe what I have done is describe your participation in what you done. I'm
and
not
you're
saying you cannot
participating.
do it. I don't care what you do.
No, but I'm saying for the guy, for like Roger, if he supports women having jobs and women doing all this stuff, he can't benefit off of the women that's giving up sex too from
You
their
keep
feminist
saying
view.
some shit, brother. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Ooh,
When did I say that he can't do anything?
No, I'm saying
Are you
you
listening to
saying
me?
No,
Repeat the
Black
all
question.
Euro is
Repeat the question. I'm sorry.
he's bringing some accountability on us
Nah,
that
he,
I don't know. See, Black Euro is bringing some accountability on men that I don't know if we're ready for right now.
Thank
Are
you.
I
men
mean,
ready? Are
Thank
men
you.
ready to
And,
start? Are
look,
men
I am not judging what you're doing. I'm describing what you do. I'm not
exactly? Are
judging.
men
I'm describing
are,
it.
listen,
are
a
men
man
ready?
didn't make a
Hold on,
a
are
man
men
didn't make
ready
a
to start? Are
men
men
didn't
ready
make
to
women
stop sleeping with
feminists.
these women?
Women
what,
chose
what,
to be feminists on their own. All we're doing is adapting to the world that we have to
It
live
don't
in right
matter
now.
what they
So you
chose.
are a participator.
What you
Euro
can
was right.
choose.
When I
It
first
does
came
not
in, I
matter
said I
what they
agree. I
chose.
said I
You
fuck
can
with
choose
feminism.
what you do with them. It does not
what,
matter what they chose to do.
look, y'all. I don't want this point to get caught up too. At the end of the day, Black woman makes a point when you think about it. You
No,
know what
you
I'm saying?
do.
I was just honest. I hadn't really thought about it. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Will some feminists get some dick? Sure. You know what I'm saying? Just let's be realistic. You ain't got to hide from nothing. But anything beyond that, it's just gonna be a lot tougher to get. But I do think you're gonna have to start swinging that pendulum at some point. And I'm saying that if men don't tell women straight up, the reason I'm not gonna have a relationship with you is because you're a feminist, then there's no reason for them not to be so. Because I could just simply stop having sex with them and they just gonna get some dick from somebody else. So it ain't gonna solve anything. But from a reality
Well,
standpoint,
no, it will solve it to the extent there's a critical mass of desirable men that just go cold turkey on that. It will solve.
I agree with Black Euro.
what,
It
yeah,
sounds crazy, but Black Euro, unfortunately, he's right. I say
well, the
unfortunately.
thing,
I say
now, the
unfortunately.
thing is, it's not an unfortunate thing, but I'm gonna say from a realistic standpoint, to get the message across to women, what you're gonna have to do is tell them, I ain't mess with you like that because you're a feminist. Now, men getting the message would be different than the women getting the message. Because at the end of the day, women depend on this whole ideal about what they can and can't do. That's what they're dependent upon. They live their lives based on this ideal of what they can or can't do. So you're gonna have to remove something from them if you want them to act right. And if you're not
Shit.
going to remove something from them, it doesn't make a difference what you do. Because I'm gonna say this: men can act right 100%, but that don't make women act right. Women do their own thing. They on their
But
own accord
Well,
because
no,
they have the freedoms to
Roger,
do it.
that leads more to
it reduce the it reduced the options and the benefit from them acting wrong. Now you see these
exactly.
black women,
What?
complaining about men not showing up places and men not going to restaurants and not going to dating events. That's an impact. That's a real psychological impact to a lot of
He's
women.
on.
Now
Oh,
let
he's
But
that
they not
happen for
complaining they
1
not
unfortunate.
year,
getting
2
sex though.
years, 3 years, 5. At a certain point, it has an impact.
No, no, I'm not saying it doesn't have an impact, but if we want what we trying to get, the thing is you're gonna have to impact them with something that matters to them. And they have this whole thing where feminism is a huge part of their lives. So I'm attacking what's a huge part of their lives straight on. Hey, I would mess with you, but you're a feminist.
But see,
That's
Roger,
gonna mean
this
something to a woman.
this goes against that. See, this goes against that very disagreement that I had about women giving it up by the third date. You remember we used to do live streams about, oh, well, if she really likes you, she'll give it up by the
No, no,
third
no,
date.
no. You know,
And
if
that
you
kind of goes to
no, no, hold on. No,
Uru was
no,
saying.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Yes,
Because
it does.
No, it
I'm gonna
don't.
tell you how it doesn't. Because she ain't a virgin. If she was a virgin, then when she gives it up, would make a difference. If you ain't a virgin, you've already been there, done that. There is no more valuable at that point. You know what I'm saying? A virgin woman is far more valuable than a woman who's already been in the streets.
And
It's
what
just,
Black Guru was saying is we're providing a
But
continuation.
when
We're
you
providing a
lie down
continuation of
with this
that.
non-virgin, when you lie down with this feminist non-virgin, you basically validated what she's done up to that point.
Exactly. Exactly.
You'd be better off saying you're not a virgin. You lie down with X number of men I can't account for, so I can't really be with you like that. Again, I'm not advocating for this personally because I don't give a damn. I'm out of the whole game. I'm just trying to look at the logic of
no,
what
no,
you
no, no.
present.
I totally get what you're saying, and I'm not saying you didn't make a point, but and y'all, I'm saying y'all be on the lookout. If y'all over talking Black Uru because he does get elder privilege here. Chef has made an announcement. He about to take somebody's soup. So y'all be cool. I'm not saying you don't have a point, Black Rule, because you do have a legitimate point. Because I like I said, I just hadn't thought about it, but it's a legitimate point. But what I'm saying is, if you want to mold women to be better off to what we want, it ain't about how we act. It's gonna be about making them have a repercussion on how they act. Mostly
But,
what
but
we as
Roger,
men have done.
that's not logical though. How is how you act not a how is not how they act not a product of what you do in part?
Okay, and that's what I'm gonna get to. The thing is, women make adjustments the same way a bunch of women still want to have babies, and they just went to what people would say are lesser men, but they went to guys who didn't have a job. They went to guys who were in prison, all that type of stuff. They just changed what type of guy they was pursuing to get the baby out of.
Okay, but Rob, okay, now you brought that up. Let's have a conversation. Let's not have a diatribe. Let's have a conversation. By conversation, I mean let's stop and pause in between points. Right? Now you made that argument, but you cannot say that without talking about the welfare state. The welfare state made Pookie. The welfare state made the layup dude just came out of prison, and he can lay up at Kanisha's house. Well, the welfare state's going away. The welfare state's going away, and guess what? Over the last few months, 300,000 black female jobs, over 300 gone. Black men are up 100,000 jobs during that same period. So even that whole business of she's just gonna go lay up with some dude to make a baby, where they've also, by the way, taken away abortion rights and are reducing access to birth control, that shit ain't gonna be as accessible as it used to be. That environment is not going to exist to the degree that it did, where you could just sort of randomly lay up with this guy and get a baby. That's not a viable option as much as it used to be, especially as they're losing jobs.
Christian nationalism is not going to allow that, and Black Euro is right. Evangelical and Episcopal Christians are not going to allow this. They are control. Yo, you're cooking right now, dog.
What?
Like,
But this is the thing. What a lot of women gonna do is what they normally do. They're gonna revert back to their sexuality to gain money. So you got women who lost a job. Now, some of them probably gonna be able to get some unemployment for a while. But if they get into a position where ain't no unemployment and there is no employment, and they're gonna be out there doing something strange for some change, because that's what most women go to. Now, the fact that they were government workers and things like that ain't gonna make no difference. The average woman base her lifestyle on what she can gain from a sexual standpoint. Now, I'm not saying they don't get jobs and stuff, true, but they still base their life on what they can gain from a sexual appeal to men. Yo, that's getting men to take them to a dinner, getting men to take them to a show.
Which is all the more reason why you guys should be a little more circumspect of how much dick you give.
No, I'm not arguing you don't have a good point, Black Rose. I'm not arguing you don't have a good point. I do think that it was a good point. I just hadn't thought about it beforehand, but I think it's a good point. But what only thing I'm saying is that when it comes down to it, if feminism is an issue for men, then make it a blunt issue. Stop hiding that it's that. No, I'm not dating you because you're a feminist. That's it. I don't want to have a family with you because you're a feminist. I don't want to marry you because you're a feminist. If you don't make it an issue, it's never going to be seen as an issue, because they clearly don't see it as one.
but Roger, having a family is later. Having a sex is having the sex is immediate, and that's giving these women that's giving these women that confirmation bias of their behavior.
No,
I
Pass.
hate.
Are you going to marry a 40-year-old woman?
Can I
No,
go
I'm not. I'm not gonna marry a 40-year-old woman because I don't believe in. I don't believe in geriatric pregnancies.
Okay,
I
but
don't believe in geriatric pregnancies.
Pastor, this is the thing. We say that's an option that clearly ain't there, because it's only about 27% of black women is even married at this particular point. They're not getting it. We keep saying they're getting it, but the numbers don't show they're getting it.
But they're
Now,
not getting it because they have access to dick. So
No,
Euro is right. Euro is right.
what
Black women are not getting married because they
what
still have access to dick. So
what do
therefore,
they
he's right.
what
wait,
do
can I
they
say something?
what do they want versus what they're getting? Yes, women gonna be able to get dick. I'm not arguing that at all. But what are women complaining that they're not getting?
Can I say something?
They will
Go
settle
ahead,
for
Shark.
dick over
Hold on,
marriage,
let's
Roger.
Shark get in. Let's Shark get in. Go ahead, Shark.
I support the feminists and I tell them, yo, I don't have no problem being in a relationship. But if you don't want kids, you don't want to get married, the only thing we're going to be doing is having sex. Point blank.
Yes, I actually want to say
So
something in
you a
regards to that, Shark.
whoremonger. You a whoremonger.
No, I
You a
just told,
One
whoremonger.
second,
I literally
You a
just,
Pastor, I'm
whoremonger.
I
talking, bro.
literally just
Pastor,
told the
I'm talking,
woman,
bro.
I literally just told the woman, I
My
said, I'm
bad. My bad.
down
I'm
with
sorry.
being in a
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
relationship
I'm
and
sorry. I'm
having a
sorry. I'm
family.
sorry.
But if
I'm
you
sorry.
don't
I'm
want
sorry.
that, you don't want this, you're not worth anything, which goes back to the title of that Roger just put up.
Yeah,
Feminism has made women worthless.
and I agree with you, Shark. But I think that both Pastor and Uru had a small point about validation. For example, you don't have to give her a relationship. Why would you need to give her a relationship if all she's available to is sex? By definition, all the women would be in that same scenario. So why keep them? You know what I'm saying? Like you get what I'm saying? I mean, aside from basically you're fond of her, so it's like you actually giving her a long term relationship and having a certain security and consistency of male companionship validate the point that they're kind of right. I've done all these negative things up to this point, and I was still able to get Shark to stay with me, even in this basically the prevalent state. So,
And that ain't happening. I'm out.
Yeah, because and my thing is this. I'm not saying what women can't do. Obviously, they can go out and have sex if they want to. Truth be told, they could get married if they truly wanted to. Why are they having this idea that I should wait till later? Well, the truth is, people just telling them nonsense because the later ain't working. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't want to point that fact out. Later ain't working because it ain't a bunch of old women getting married. There are some women who get married, but it ain't a bunch of old women getting married. So later don't actually work. You might be able to find a person who got married later, but a lot of times that's going to be somebody who get married they second or third time. They a widow and their husband died, so now they marrying somebody else. But ain't a bunch of fresh out the gate 48-year-olds getting married. Because when you start being realistic, if I was gonna marry a 48-year-old, the first question would be why would I take on that type of responsibility to be her husband when we know 9 times out of 10 we ain't finna have no family? So what I need her in the marriage for? What's the point of me taking on all that responsibility? And now whatever debt she got, I got to pay my debts and I got to pay her debts. I got to pay my bills, now I got to pay her bills. I got to pay for my food, now I got to pay for her food. Why would I take all that on for some woman who's 48 years old and at any given moment she can always just quote unquote retire because she just don't feel like working no more? And now I'm responsible for her. Why would I, as a man, put myself in that position? That
Because
is a
Roger,
joke.
society has made men believe in geriatric pregnancy and IVF, and
No,
these
no, no.
women can.
I'm taking pregnancy off
Society,
the table. I'm taking pregnancy off the table. We talking about a 48-year-old woman that has no expectation she gonna ever have a child. Why would I take her on as a mate?
because she's going to come to you with the expectations that she can still procreate for you through IVF and all
I
these
don't
other
believe
issues.
none of that. She
I'm glad you
48.
don't. I'm glad you don't, Roger. I'm glad you don't. But that's the game they are that is the game. That's the package that they are selling. I'm glad you don't.
But the thing is, a bunch of men ain't gonna buy. I understand women are trying to say I can give you a baby at 45. I do get that that's happening. And my thing is, if a man went through regular, look, I went to a terrible school system and I learned enough about science to not depend on no 48-year-old woman to get no baby out of. So, you know, I would hope the vast majority of men would understand something from a scientific standpoint that the chance of that happening and it's gonna work for you ain't very likely. Now, I ain't gonna say she ain't gonna give you no baby, but you got a very good chance that baby gonna cost you a whole lot of extra money because you're gonna have a baby with some struggles. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have a baby with some struggles. And I ain't gonna wish that on nobody. But why would I want a baby by a 48-year-old when my baby gonna have problems? Now my baby can't even move around like a normal kid, and it's gonna cost me more money. Sounds like more reasons for me to not to be involved in that. That's what it sounds like. The bill don't make sense for me to take on. You know, the
I
older she
agree.
is, the worse the bill is. You know,
I agree, Roger, but the problem is too many women are able to sell that to men. There's a reason why Trump had to come out against IVF and all these um multiple forms of birth control, making women have geriatric pregnancies. Women were waiting to 30 and 35. 35 is a geriatric pregnancy. 30 is
what
pre
what
30 is
no,
pre geriatric pregnancy.
the thing is, women can do all that stuff if they want to. We as men don't have to accept any of it.
We
We
don't.
talking like we gotta accept any of this stuff. I
But
don't
we
care about
are.
no.
And
I don't care nothing
But
about no
we
old women
are,
trying to
Roger.
get pregnant.
the only women who are really pursuing IVF are mostly married and mostly upper middle class women. There aren't a whole lot of masses of women trying to do IVF because most, and black women in particular, because most of them ain't even married and most of them can't even afford
Yeah, that
Thank
stuff
you.
expensive. That stuff is
Ask,
expensive.
ask Ebony K. Williams. She'll tell you firsthand.
Yeah, the price tag alone gonna keep a lot of the folks out of it, and just real talk. Just the
And
price
that's the
tag
reason why
alone.
they're
and
practicing.
it's painful, and it's not
Mhm.
even foolproof.
It's not, and all that is true. But your rule, when these women have exhausted all their dick behavior and they're at the wall, because the wall is really when these bitches can't give you no babies or no family. These women are choosing that, and this is why black women are trying to look for men that have more and more money, looking for zaddies.
Pastor,
And
are you
so,
gonna
so you,
take
so
them?
you're right. They can't afford you. The
Okay,
average woman
but
cannot
Not
afford
Pastor,
it.
working, Pastor.
Are
Not
you gonna
working.
take them? Are you gonna take them?
Not
No,
Yeah,
working,
he
bro.
taking them.
me personally, no, Roger. But too many of us
What? No,
are.
no. The thing,
No,
no,
no, no, no,
no.
Pastor. That's a lie.
Honestly,
That's a lie. A lot of
the
men are not
marriage
taking
numbers,
40-year-old women.
the marriage numbers saying ain't hard, ain't nobody really taking them in general. And my thing
Yeah.
is, if you want to change the mindset, you have to attack what gave them the mindset. So you attack feminism, period. If men start saying, I don't want to be bothered with you because you're a feminist, that's going to change how women move. But if what, are we scared to say this now? Is that what the deal is? Like, we scared to just tell a woman, look, baby, you're a feminist, I don't want to mess with you.
Roger. I have harped on this. You have to define that. Because again, if you're laying down with a feminist, you're a feminist co-conspirator,
Okay. Well,
regardless of whether you ask that question.
we'll get back to that in a moment because Jado was here. So let me let Jado get in and we'll get back to that. Go ahead, Jado.
Hey, what up, Roger? Fellas on the panel, salute everybody in the chat room. Peace, bro. Hey, man. Black Uber pulled out the Trump card, man. I think we kind of, y'all kind of meant one of you guys are not because you're still discussing it, but that's the ultimate question, man. And he brought it down to a sexual level, which, you know, it makes a visceral response. So we can really, really look into it. But if you just expand giving out D to other things, which we all do, which we all contribute to, you know, we are in support of feminism on many different levels. You know what I'm saying? From
It's free
the
pussy.
micro to the
Ain't
macro.
that what Shark said? It's free pussy. Shark said it's free pussy for everybody.
So I'm just saying, like, so that's he made the ultimate point, man. And I know we kind of try to move past it, but like that's the real point. So either way, if you handing out D to somebody, even if you're handing out D to a broad, man, you're handing out other stuff to her. That's inadvertent. Go ahead. Somebody trying to get in.
Nah, finish your statement.
Oh, okay, no, we handing out other stuff inadvertently, even if we saying, oh, I'm just gonna get this broad some D. No, you giving out other stuff too. And then when we do stuff like if you expand out to like we pave roads, man. we do HVAC. We maintain server. I mean, if you just expand it all the way out from the individual level all the way up to a government level, we're supporting feminism, to be quite honest with you. And that's all I had to say. I'm gonna sit back and observe, man. I appreciate you having me up, Roger.
Well, no, I appreciate the statement. And my thing is this. I mean, Black Root did make a point. Let's keep it real. But what I'm saying is, Because even though that is a good point, because I ain't gonna just throw it away, you know, because at the end of the day, most men are doing that. You know, I do understand that they've had some studies with some younger men just not having sex with the women. And I don't blame them at the end of the day. I just don't blame them because if you've never had it, it's easier to not get involved. I do believe personally, sex is one of the hardest things for any individual to give up. And once you start having sex, you pretty much gonna keep going. And I think that's on the side of men and women at the end of the day. But I do think the whole concept of a woman's gonna get to do whatever she wants to do and don't have to give nothing is something that needs to be attacked, period. Because you do have women who say, well, yeah, I ain't bringing nothing to the table. Because one woman said it and then a bunch of other women started repeating it. You know, where they get it from? They heard a dude say it. Most women just repeat stuff that men say. They just do it. They may change how much of it they're going to say or whatever case is, but that's what women do now. Well, yeah, I ain't bringing nothing to the table. My thing is that's cool. So you want to work for somebody else, but live in my home where I pay bills so that other men can have a better life for him and his family than me because he the one's employing you. So you helping some other dude be better off than me. The ideal of that don't even make sense to me at all. So I wouldn't participate in no way. If you're going to get something to bring it back to me so we can have a better life, then I understand why you went and got it. I don't even understand why a woman has a job if she ain't trying to help her husband. But yeah, I'm not saying black men ain't bought into feminism. What I am saying is we need to actually start letting some of that go.
Hey, Raj, I agree.
So
I
Roger, what
agree
you saying? What you
wholeheartedly.
want?
Hey,
What you saying, Roger?
real
Okay.
quick. I agree with you, Roger, man. But I'm saying, like, imagine if we have, like, if a woman places a 911 call for a police, a law enforcement officer to come in, and if we really truly believe in feminism, only female officers should be responding to, her call. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that you have big burly male officers, men officers coming through, I'm just saying, like, we actually support it all the way. Like they should be able to make a call and they need some, a police officer on deck. Yeah, send the women in to handle it. I'm just giving an example. We're talking about giving out sex or whatever to these chicks. I'm saying we support it on all levels, man. They should be paving their own, but they should be paving roads at the same rate that we do. Just all the stuff, all the tough jobs that men do. You know what I'm saying? They should be doing all of that too. We support it on all levels.
And this is the issue. This is the issue with feminism. I'm glad you said what you said earlier before you said because feminism benefits a particular sector of men, and they are going to, and those men happen to be very rich and very affluent, and they're going to keep this feminism going because feminism gives them access to all the women while putting other men at a detriment or a debt to women. So I'm glad you said what you said because feminism is being upheld by a very high class, in particular, secular of men.
But the whole thing is you an individual. If you're not gonna fight the individual fight, don't worry about what the powerful men are doing. If you're not gonna tell a woman, I can't mess with you like that because you're a feminist, why are you talking about some rich or powerful guy? And I'm not saying you personally, I'm just saying we go into these things, but nobody wants to deal with the woman in front of.
Because
Okay,
I'm gonna
look,
tell you why, Roger. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why, Roger. I'm gonna tell you why, Roger.
hold on, Pat. You the woman in front of me. I tell you straight up, look, you look nice or whatever case is, I will kick it with you, but you clearly a feminist, so I don't want no parts of you. That's going to be damage to her personally. She will get a message that I need to do something different. If you're unwilling to give the woman in front of you that message, then why trip that they participate in something that they don't get no punishment for?
I'm gonna tell you why, Roger. Because I'm gonna talk about me personally, right? I don't know if I'm strong enough, big enough, brave enough, or better enough as a man to walk away from that free pussy that these rich and powerful men are applying to society, which is destroying society. Because this shit is being funded by more than women, dog.
Okay, but so Pastor, you ain't never turned down no pussy before?
I have turned down some pussy before.
So
Yes, I
guess
have.
what? So guess what?
Not
You
no
can
fine
do it.
pussy.
You can do it. The thing is, they want you to believe you can't do stuff that you clearly can. If you've turned down pussy already, then you can turn any other woman down too.
I want to
Hey,
jump in there too, Roger.
Roger,
hey,
it's the
Roger,
level of
Roger,
pussy. So when you ask me
Roger,
if I
Roger.
turned down
Re-
pussy before, I've turned down lower pussy, but
That's what I said. You turned down the low. I'm sorry.
the best sex is likely to come from a feminist.
Because it's free.
Well, here's the
Right.
thing. Like I
And
was
she already
like when you kind of
she already been buck wild out there like that.
and and I'm saying, like, Roger, if you do, and I agree with you. I'm not going against it, but I'm just saying, like, if you say, you know what, I ain't messing with you, shawty, you a feminist or whatever, but I'm just gonna give you some D, right?
yeah.
And then it's a brother across town. That's what he says the same thing. You know what? I ain't messing with you. I'm just gonna give you the D. Then there's another dude in another town say, you know what? I ain't messing with you. You a feminist. I'm gonna give you the D. And then he gets all the residual, what's the word for it? The extra goodies.
Well,
The runoff. The runoff.
I didn't say
All
you
the
had.
run.
I didn't say you had to give it a D. If you just tell her I
No, no,
would
no, no,
mess with
no,
you
no, no,
because
no,
you're a
no, Roger. I'm
feminist.
not. No, it's not
Oh,
about having to. I'm just saying this is what happens. But
but
she gets the extra runoff from all three of them dudes. She can still maintain a good. That's what I'm saying. That's why Black Guru brought up a good point, man. You're still supporting it.
But when you say the runoff, what do you mean by that, Jado?
Whatever you gonna get, man. Bra's gonna get some extra goodies off a dude. I don't care. You niggas be saying, "Oh, I'm
That's
just
true.
gonna dick her
All the
down."
creature
That's true.
comforts,
I
Once
copy
you
that.
fuck
all
it,
the
how you gonna do it?
creature
Sorry.
comforts that come with
Thank
dealing
thank
with
you for
men.
being
All the
eloquent
creature
with it.
comforts.
Ooh, thank you, sir.
I
yeah,
Need
understand
to
what you're
get
saying.
that on a one night stand type of scenario there. Like, I mean, there's like all kinds of like spectrums of how these dynamics of
Right.
relationships work out.
Mhm.
And the thing about it is like, so if you deal with a chick that brings headaches and problems into your life, that's a one night chick. If you deal with a chick that's neutral, okay, then that's somebody that you can maybe kick it with. But then when you get into somebody that actually does something that solves your problems, now you're talking about a girlfriend. And if she adds value to your life as a man, then that's marriage.
Copy. Copy.
I can
all
agree
right,
with
y'all
that.
know.
I can agree with that.
Chef Mike then came up, y'all. So anytime Chef Mike come up, we're gonna settle down and see if it's good or bad. Chef Mike, do your thing, brother.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to find yourself on this Tuesday. Listen, this is a great conversation. Absolutely great points. And I'm sitting back and I'm enjoying everything. However, gentlemen, you have to do it one at a time. The conversation is getting so good that you all are starting to talk over each other and you all continue to talk over Black Uber. Fellas, let's just calm it down a little bit, one at a time, have a conversation, and continue these great points. This is an amazing way to kind of restart this channel, and I don't want to get off to a bad start. So y'all, let's rein it in a little bit, and let's not be a fish market. Thank you very, very much.
All right, we'll do, Chef. We'll do. Okay.
Thank you.
Shout
Yeah,
out
but
to Afro Merchant. He said, "Don't take Roger's suit, Chef." Hey, I wasn't getting crazy, was I? You got to put me on Front Street, Afro Martin. He didn't mention no names. He didn't mention no name. And here you come. I thought you was a supporter.
yeah, so Roger, that brother made a great commentary about us, slowing down for a second and think about what we're saying. And when I slow down and I think about what I'm saying, what I've been doing, I have been feeding feminism. I have been because I have been sleeping with these independent women, got a job, got they life, supposedly got their life together. I have been meeting women at bars or meeting women at clubs. I have been contributing to this independent sexual nature that's not going to build families or make this country great again. And I have to check myself and look in the mirror on that. So I appreciate what Black Guru said.
Well, I
Well,
don't think anybody in this country hasn't because it's such a integral part of the country at this particular point. So I don't think anybody walking around hasn't to some degree. But all I'm saying is we are at a point. If we're gonna be the men that we say we're gonna be, sometimes you got to attack some stuff head on. And when it comes down to feminism, we don't do simple stuff like saying a woman's supposed to take the same turn. If we do something as a job and we take turns doing it, like I said, I've done this myself. It don't. It's a more rare thing where you have people that switch off from different types of jobs for a while. But I was the only person saying, no, make the women do this too. If we, you know what I'm saying? They're employed too. Usually men always make some room for women to have it easier. And I'm gonna say this again. To this day, 100% of the time when I drive past a construction site where they're working on a road, if somebody is holding a sign and a woman is present, it's always her. I have never driven past one simple site where I saw a woman and she wasn't the person holding the sign.
Wait, can I
Well, I
comment on
agree
that?
with that. I think that also we have to kind of look at the difference between surviving in the system that we live in versus actually believing in it. Because there are women that might not believe in any of feminism, but they have to go to school or they have to go to the job or they have to do this or they
Yeah.
have to do that just to survive in the system that was structured around them.
And my thing is, okay, women can do certain things. How is it benefiting my family at the end of the day? Because if it ain't benefiting my family, it's not that big a deal to me. And I don't understand why most men can't just start valuing themselves from that standpoint. You know, I let's like this. You know, let me look at it like this, y'all. I like when guys have nice stuff. Why? Because you could be a man I don't know and I see something, oh, that's very nice. That's inspiration of something I can have if I want that same thing. Now, I'm not gonna steal from somebody because I believe you got to be a hater to a certain degree to even steal something from another person.
Facts.
But how excited am I supposed to be about that thing that you got that I ain't got? I'll give some level of excitement because I think the thing is nice. But if I think I need to ascertain that thing, I'm gonna be happy for you because you got it. But then I'm gonna start figuring out how to get it for myself too because I like that particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not looking for somebody else to do it all for me. I'm not coming from an entitled position where somebody else got to make all these things happen for me. And guess what? Nobody wants to take care of me as a man because when people see me as a man, they see me as an equal. So it's like, go get your own because you just as much of a man as I am. But when you go in with feminism, we take these same thought processes and then we start jumbling around because she's a woman. And now we want to give her the same job we got, but we don't want her to work as hard as the rest of us. You know, when there's a thing that pops up that's a little bit easier, we want her to do it. Yeah, I mean, if we look at the country, you see all these women with these office jobs. Why they got all these office jobs? Because it seems like it's a little bit easier to work in an air-conditioned office than get out here in the streets and make something happen at the end of the day. And we don't look at a woman as something wrong with her because she broke. Now, she broke and begging. And I've said this time and time again, women have always begged. And I remember the first time I said that on the internet, a lot of people gave me a lot of flack because I ain't never known women not to beg. And they, oh, you talking about the women in your family? No, I'm talking about black women in general. I've not grown up in the world where I don't see women begging. Now, they beg in certain ways. They beg in different sentences. Sometimes they don't try to present it as if they're begging, but I see women begging all day long. If you can't do X, Y, and Z for me, don't even call my phone. You know, before you even try to take me on a date, hit me with a cash app. That sounds like begging to me. Now, I don't know how other people take it, but I see women begging all the time. And the only thing I seen differently with begging is they just change how they beg.
If you're going to have a community of people where less than 20% of the women are married at any point in time, you're going to have a lot of begging women because a lot of shit that they were supposed to be getting from their husband. So, of course, you're going to have a lot of begging women.
What? But see, if you got the job, you ain't supposed to be begging. They got the job a man would have. So why you begging?
But
just having a job in and of itself does not necessarily satisfy everything that a woman needs. And usually, when a woman is by herself without a man, she's much more likely to be in financial trouble or spendthrift or whatever because she don't have anybody regulating her spending, regulating her trips and all that kind of stuff. So she's gonna be in financial regulating her student loan payments. So she's gonna be, even if she has a job, Even if there was a reason why, 10 or so years ago, they reported that the median net worth of a single black woman was something like $5. And even employed women. But the reality is, if there's no man putting some kind of regulation over stuff, they're gonna probably be in financial trouble, even as they were.
I mean, that's understandable. But my thing is this: people can get into financial trouble. But see, when you're a man and you get in financial trouble, you're supposed to just go fix it. Now, if I'm gonna think a woman is just as capable as a man, which I'm gonna let you have that. Go fix it. That's my whole thing. And that's why I don't date women who keep telling me all this stuff about these college debts these college loan debts they had. They be like, yeah, I owe X amount of money. I'd be like, nah, you know what? We just can't really go out because I just look at you as a financial burden because you ain't figured out, even once you out of college, you've been working and you still ain't figured out how to pay your college debt. You're just not gonna be good with money. Because you just don't feel like you need to be good with money. You believe a man's supposed to come in and take care of it, or you really handled that already. So you believe that's my job. So I'm not going to take on that job. So I'm going to stay away from it. You just a broke broad to me. And that's it. I'm not.
Well, Roger, here's what I think you're kind of saying here. It's like they don't really want feminism. They don't really want patriarchy. What a lot of women really want is to be liars and exploiters instead.
Which doesn't benefit me. Which does not benefit me. See, my thing is, I'm looking for the woman who can benefit me. If you cannot benefit me, I don't have no use for you. So if you're a feminist, how you gonna benefit me? Because if you believe your money is your money and my money is our money, I don't hear a benefit for me. I'm looking out for me, y'all. I believe I should value myself, and I am looking out for me. And I'm just trying to encourage other men to start being the same way. Look out for yourself. It's nothing wrong with sharing a life with a woman. I've always been a pro-marriage person. There's nothing wrong with sharing a life with a woman, but the one you share with makes a difference.
The thing about it, Roger, is they trick dowries into American society. I'm glad you brought up the debt, right? Women come with debt. And that's been historically known. I think that's what the dowry was all about. And feminism has taught women how to turn their debt into dowries. Men are paying off student loans. Men are paying off debts in order to marry these women. So women have turned their debts into dowries.
But they don't want to get married no more, so they messing up that too.
True. They messing up that too. But so you got a certain side of feminism that's turning their debt into dowry. Then you got another set of feminism that's turning into.
Want to marry. They are going to want to marry now that Trump is in office and is not going to pay off those student loans.
Too late.
They can want to marry all they want.
You guys talk too much about what you think they're going to do or what you think they're currently going to do or what they used to do. And all that shit is out of the context of the reality we're going into. Between black men and black women, there has been a over 400,000 job swap to black men. When I say 400, saying they lost 300,000, we gained 100,000. The net result of that is a 400,000 net increase to black men. If that trend continues, there's gonna be a whole lot of bitches trying to marry y'all by this time next year. I promise.
But
if that continues,
I mean, that ship is already sailed. Anybody finna marry them broad? You know what I'm saying? Well,
I'm not saying
the vast majority.
I'm not saying you go marry them. Listen to what I said. I'm not saying you go marry them. I'm addressing the statement that has been previously made. And that previous statement was they don't want to marry nobody. No, they're going to want to marry. For sure.
Yeah. Well, I personally don't believe women don't want to marry. Women have always wanted to marry. I do think they still want to marry to this point. The thing is, they have these feminist ideas that everything's supposed to be easy. So therefore, they don't want to marry a man if they don't think somehow it's going to be easy, or if they believe it's going to be some work into it. Unfortunately, the average black woman would rather just marry a non-black man if they believe there's going to be some work, because black women don't believe working for a black man is an honorable thing to do. That's why they have that term "pick me" out there, which means you a nigga lover. Because if you say you for a black man, they're gonna say you a pick me. And it's starting to spread out to other folks too. But let's keep in mind where it came from. It was a way to call a black woman a nigga lover without using the term nigga lover. So, they always wanted to get married. It's just that if they marry you, they supposed to get something more, and you're so unworthy of them. You should be willing to do everything for them, and they don't have to do anything for you. They don't have to be faithful to you. They don't have to necessarily give you any children. They don't have to do anything that you would think a wife would do for a husband. It's just not required in their mindset. And my thing is, women have that mindset, and they have a right to have that mindset. But as a man, you have a right to just tell them, look, because of your mindset, I don't want to be bothered with you. And I just don't see what the big deal is with that. Because to me, this whole conversation makes it like a big deal just to simply tell women, because you are a feminist, you ain't worth my time. Mm-hmm. I think men should just be doing that left and right. I don't understand why it would hurt us in any kind of way to tell a woman to her face, hey, you cool, but you're a feminist, so I don't really want to be bothered with you.
Roger, it is a big deal. It is a big deal because, like Yuru was saying, so many women in our country. I would go up to 90%, like y'all were saying. So many women, black, white, Mexican, Indian, I don't care where them hoes come from. So many women in our society, in our America, do agree with some form of feminism, whether it's the first wave, second wave, third wave, and we hope not fourth wave.
It's not even about what they agree to, and asking a woman whether she's a feminist ain't gonna tell you shit. How she lived her life, how she was raised, who she associates with. First of all, if she wasn't raised by a father, that's a plus 90% of feminist likelihood. Because everything that's happened up to that point has been feminist indoctrination, if she's a black woman. So, I mean, if you be better off asking her, the more effective question is, was you raised by your dad? And if he says yes, then you continue to ask a series of other questions. If she says no, I don't even know why you're even talking to her.
All right, now I'm gonna address this real quick.
It's not even worth asking her whether. Beyond that point, it's not even worth asking her whether she's a feminist or not, because her whole life she's lived as a feminist up to that point.
Well, I wouldn't ask a woman if she's a feminist. I just tell women because you are. I don't ask them. I just tell them because you are a feminist, I ain't gonna be bothered with you. I don't ask. It ain't that hard to see. But I'm gonna say shout out to Pharaoh Cheryl. Pharaoh Cheryl says men are having a hard time, huh? Incels. Pharaoh Cheryl, I'm gonna say that's a completely stupid statement. Men ain't having a hard time because women are hoes. Y'all say this stuff about incels. The only men that have ever been truly counted as incels have been white men. And let's just keep that real.
I mean, we know Cheryl the whole because she called herself Pharaoh.
Well, I mean, and I'm just saying.
I mean, come on.
I mean, but I do want people to understand.
What
number
what
one,
woman, what decent woman calls herself Pharaoh?
That is crazy.
I'm sure you're gonna have a hard time finding one. but
Roger, she calling us the answer that Yuru was talking about. So what's wrong with the incel? What's wrong with the incel?
Brother, hold on. The point is this. You can't have a population of incels when you got a bunch of hoes out here. It just don't make sense. And this is the thing that y'all don't catch. The whole point was her trying to make you measure your manhood based off a woman. If a woman can call you an incel and you feel some type of way about it, what you're actually saying is my value as a man comes because I screwed abroad. That's now you're measuring yourself off a woman, which has nothing to do with manhood whatsoever. It was a really dumb, silly statement to make, and you kind of ruined the whole thing about it.
If the first thing a woman say is to talk about what a man doing with his dick, that's a hoe.
Exactly.
If that's the first thing she refers to, without anything else, the first thing she talks about is somebody being an incel, that's a hoe.
Exactly.
That's her primary focus, her primary locus.
And if a person was an incel and he wanted to somehow stop being one, you got to go meet Pharaoh Cheryl, because the advertisement is in the name. I'm not even saying that.
She's trying to break. She's trying to break your. Cheryl's trying to break your dry spell, bro. Go get it.
Honestly, Roger, I'm not offended by the term incel because a lot
No,
of black men
I
are
didn't
a
say
lot
you
of
was.
a
It
lot
was.
of black
I
men.
just
I'm gonna say this real quick. A
no,
lot of
the
black
thing
men
was
are.
I was trying to make a point because of what
Uh-huh.
she said. That's all. And you was just, some stuff you got to get it in at a certain time, to go like you wanted to go. That's all. Because I like to throw a little comedy in here too. But you was
Exactly,
throwing off
brother.
my time, and that's all. You was just throwing my time and all. But go ahead, what you wanted to say. Because
A lot of a
Cheryl got
lot of
something for
black a
all of
lot
us
of black
after the
men
show.
are voluntarily celibate because
I
black
would say
men
a
are
lot,
in.
small percentage.
No, black men. We don't have a hard time getting a piece of ass, dog. Look, I'm glad she called Nick.
What?
I'm glad she called brothers incels because we do need to take a second back to become celibate and think to ourselves because a lot of like you was saying, a lot of this behavior and a lot of this feminism is being fed because we aren't taking that step back to be celibate, to be voluntary
Well,
celibate, or whatever you want to call it.
can I
Well,
make I want to make a quick point.
well,
Yes,
I'm just
Roger.
gonna
I
say
want to. Yeah,
real quick.
go ahead, Roger.
I don't think a bunch of men being celibate is gonna change anything or have the impact that we want it to have in a major effect. I do understand. To me, the real thing that we got to do. I'm not saying being celibate wouldn't help, but the real thing you have to do at some point in time, you're gonna have to be confrontational, which is I think what we're trying to avoid is what I'm saying is mean. Just be confrontational. I'm not messing with you because you're a feminist. Not that I asked was she a feminist. You're going to pick it up right away just based on the behavior, the conversation y'all have. If y'all talking about anything of any substance, you're going to pick it up. And you just tell them directly, I ain't messing with you because you're a feminist. I've said this to women, and they've gotten very mad about the fact that I've said this to them. And I'm like, I don't care that you upset. I don't want no feminists. So therefore, I don't want you. You want to be a feminist, don't you? So why are you tripping about what it costs you to be a feminist? This is the cost of being a feminist. I don't mess with you. It ain't that big a deal. You
Hey,
shouldn't even take it as a big deal.
yeah, Roger, that's
Okay,
good. That's good
Rod.
foreplay for these chicks, bro. What you just said.
It
I
might
think
it might
it
be
should be
helpful
verbalized.
for
Go
you.
ahead.
It might be helpful for you to cite 3 or 5 things that a woman would commonly say or would likely say on the first date, where you can immediately get to that point where you then say you're a feminist. I don't fuck with you no more. So what would some of those things be on a first date?
Okay. Well, the thing about I like to go with what you think the purpose of a job is. What do you think about handing your money over to me if I'm your man? And what we gonna be doing in the future when we get married? A lot of women gonna instantly tell you, nigga, I ain't giving you nothing. I don't care if you my husband. I ain't giving you a squat. That's my money. I work for it. She already told me she don't want no relationship where she's actually wants to be interdependent with a man. She wants me to help her, and she don't want to help me, which is most of their program. It ain't that hard to get to.
Yeah, independent
What about this
chickpeas.
question,
Yeah.
So,
Roger? If what about this question? If we have kids, who do they belong to?
That's another good question when they're gonna tell you straight up to the point. Or you can even say, what if we got married and we somehow got a divorce? Who do you think the kids should go with? And she gonna tell you right there she a feminist. It's not hard to get to this stuff. It's just men. We are more concentrated on getting some pussy sometime than asking real questions that's gonna make a difference in a relationship if you're gonna have one with a woman. Hiram, I got you in 1 second. I'm gonna put that link for you in 1 second, brother.
I put it in
So
there for them.
yeah, yeah. So, Roger, I throw that link in there. I want to ask a quick question about because you mentioned your criteria, and I wanted to rebuttal that in a way of saying that if you do get a female that is a feminist, because you said that you're not going to mess with her because she's a feminist, but it seems to me what you're saying that you won't mess with her because she's not a true practicing feminist. Is that correct? Because if she was okay with the 50-50 and such forth, and was agreed that if you guys get divorced, all assets would split 50-50 and children would be equal custody, which is what technically, I mean, that is a real feminist, right? Would you not find that to be what you want? She would still be a feminist, no?
no, because my thing is that they do present feminism as it's supposed to be 50-50 and it's supposed to be equality. I've never recognized feminism to be that. Feminism has always been about putting women in a superior position, and we'll burn down everything to make that happen. So feminism is stupid to me. You know, real talk. And now when it comes to children, because of my religious belief, I understand that all children belong to men. That's a religious belief. So if she say we gonna do 50-50, that ain't gonna even work. If you want to leave the marriage, you just leaving me and the children. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying you can't visit the children and stuff like that, but the custody has to be mine because they're my children. You know, me having a Christian belief, and the only reason Jesus is different than the rest of us because his only father is God. Adam is just like the rest of us. He just fell into sin, but he just like the rest of us. Jesus never fell into sin, but he was born of a woman, wasn't he? Didn't a woman have Jesus? Yeah, a woman did, Mary. But Mary didn't pass anything on to Jesus because she's a woman. The only thing that got passed on to Jesus what came from God's side. So children belong to men. Women do participate, but they no. The thing is, the children belongs to a man.
I think you all asked some valid questions. But then my follow-up question to the fraternity thing, for example, would be, do you know any people who were divorced? Or do you have any close family members who were divorced? You very likely have. When your aunt and your uncle divorced, who did the children go to? If she say those children went to that woman, then I don't believe what she previously said. If she say the cousin children went to the female cousin, I don't believe what she said. If she say that she went with her mama instead of her daddy with her parents, I definitely don't believe what she said. See, the problem with the query is that if they have not lived that life experience, you can't really trust anything they say in that scenario. They may give you all the right answers, but if they ain't lived that life, if she ain't seen her mama, for example, turn over her check to her father, I'm very suspicious of her doing that with you.
And I think that's a very good thought process to have. I do have the experience that just even asking these questions have upset women. You see it in them. You don't have to guess anymore. You're gonna see their reaction.
No, I think
they're not going down.
I think they're worth asking. I think they're worth asking because I think you're right. For 80% of them, they're gonna with their body language and their response are gonna tell you the truth. But then a percentage of them are gonna be smart enough to lie dead smack in your face. And that's where their family background and their family history, I got to see something that supports it. You got to tell me about, well, when my mom and daddy broke up, we all went with my daddy. It wasn't even no question about it.
Yeah, and
I need some real life experience behind it.
Well, I'm gonna say that is not gonna necessarily happen. I think the helpful part with that because is that it's just simple that it's an unheard of idea. So I'm just going to see her response to that idea because it's almost unheard of at this point in American society for children to belong to their father. That's a foreign concept to the average American. So her reaction to that tells me, because I wouldn't ask her about it because I don't even expect her to ever even have heard something like that before. So I wouldn't ask about that, but I will tell her that's my position. So if you want to even pursue something with me where kids could even come into play one day, understand that the kids do belong to me. So therefore I have to raise them. Sure, I'll let you visit them and spend time with them and all that type of stuff, but they do actually belong to me. So I'm going to take it a different way then you gonna take it. And I've even had a woman tell me, well, now if it's my kids, now a woman did tell me that. She said, if it's my kids, I'm taking the kids. I said, you wouldn't even be breathing if you actually took that response with me. And I let her know it wasn't a joke. They're my children. I'll kill you over my children. And I ain't never had no issue with that. You know what I'm saying? If I have children, if someone's trying to take my children, I will kill you over it. And I'm not going to hesitate. I don't even believe it's wrong. I think I'll make God proud to kill you over my children. You know what I'm saying? So, it depends on your belief system because that's a fundamental belief to me. There are women who would say, oh, okay, but that's too much. Let me move on away from him. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want to go down that road. They don't want to find out how real it is. And I don't blame them because I'm not telling them as a joke. It's a very real thing to me. You know, children belong to me, and so therefore I must raise my children. That's it. Now, if I'm dead, it'd be different. But if I'm alive, I have to raise them because that's my fundamental belief. That's part of who I am as a person. That's like a part of my finger. I'm not giving my finger to somebody, you know. But y'all, we got Emperor Dessalines who done came up. So let me give him the mic real quick. Go ahead, my brother.
Hey, Roger. How you doing?
Doing great. Doing great.
Peace to the panel.
Peace, bro.
Everybody on mute, but they meant peace.
I'm just going to feminism, whether or not we need it. Unfortunately, we do.
Breaking up.
Involuntary.
Yeah, we didn't hear you. We didn't hear you. Say you got to repeat yourself.
Let me drop down a minute.
No, you sound fine now. You sound fine now. We just didn't hear what you said at first.
I said when it pertains to whether or not we feed feminism, yeah, we men, we do feed it. We do feed it through our actions, and I believe that we have made the world too comfortable for women, and that's why feminism festers so much. Because anything that a woman would need her husband to do for her, she can just get a man to do it. She can call the police on a man. She doesn't need a husband for that. She can pay $20-$40 to get her tires fixed, if even that, because some men will do it for free. So I think that even also with the penis thing, yeah, we do serve them because most of the time men are having sex with them to satisfy them, which is part of what they truly want. They go to work, they get stressed out, and they come home, and here is this big dick Negro ready to serve them. So when they say they're strong and independent, I don't blame them because we essentially allow them to roam free without any consequences. And I'll put the mic down for now, and I'll listen to you.
All right, I'm gonna say real quick. Shout out to D. He says the husband's responsibility have been outsourced. I mean, some people are gonna truly believe this, and that's why I say it's gonna really be about how a woman lives her life. If she has certain ideas and she gonna live her life based on these ideas, how's she gonna be helpful to me? And I think what most men don't get is no matter how you go in these conversations, no matter what you agree with or disagree with, at the end of the day, how does it help you as a man? Because if there's nothing being offered to help you as a man, why participate? You know, I would never say marriage is bad, but that don't mean every woman's supposed to be. That doesn't mean every woman is marriage material. I don't think a lot of people say marriage is bad. The institution of marriage has always been fine. I've literally always said the problem is not marriage, it's about the people who got married. A lot of guys don't really want to pay attention to who they actually marrying because we like to think good of a woman where good is not there. That's our own ego. I have this great woman. I got an ego too, so I understand it. I got to manage my ego too. I've been with women and I say, yeah, this woman is great, but that don't mean I cannot see her flaws. And I do address flaws. I got flaws, which means she got flaws. So if you're not going to address the flaws and she ain't willing to give up certain things that'll be bad for me, then we just can't go forward together. But I told y'all time and time again, I didn't had women and got rid of women. And I do think that's a major issue with black men is we never get rid of any woman because no flaw she has is ever really addressed to the point that if it's going to cause a breakup, we ain't going to do it. And I think that's bad on our part. And they going to act a certain way because they know this to be true. It ain't like you going to ever get rid of me. I'm a woman. You know, I can do this and do that. You ain't going to ever do nothing because I'm going to be here and you're going to take care of me and you're going to give me what I want. That's the attitude they take on. And now you just see it a lot more clearly because you have social media, which is just a bunch, which part of that is just a bunch of random women telling their true feelings when they're not around somebody. You know, they think TV or social media is like being on TV and it don't count. They don't actually approach it as a real thing that's about them.
Yeah, like marriage is a lifelong contract. Like any type of lifelong contract demands a value assessment for it. And also some vetting, some serious vetting. Like you wouldn't have like a Supreme Court justice that got there with like 2 years of law school. So you have to do your due diligence. You have to do your vetting. You have to actually look at the value proposition when you're getting into these contracts.
Absolutely. And I want to say shout out to Jade. He says, not under the current family laws, Roger. We're not governed by the Bible. I'm not saying that we are. What I'm saying is I have certain fundamental beliefs. So therefore, I'm going to tell a woman what my fundamental beliefs are. If she doesn't agree with me, the wise thing for her to do is to say, well, you know what? That's a little too far for me. I'd like to go, I'll deal with somebody else. See, when a woman tells me, well, that's going too far, I take it as, no, it's not, because it's me. I'm the only person you're going to be involved with when it comes to this relationship. And I'm telling you, this is a fundamental belief to me. So therefore, you either have to agree with it or you got to go. Most men, a woman say, well, that's going too far, because you're not going to be, I'm going to say, true to yourself. You're going to act like there's going to be some type of compromise later on down the road, or you're going to try to quote unquote fix it. I'm not changing my core self. And I know that already. So why be fake about it with a woman? If we get a divorce, the kid's coming with me. And that's just the way it's going to be. And that's if you breathing after the divorce. Because honestly, my belief is if we done, one of us will be dead. Because I'm gonna marry for death do you part. It's a lot of people who don't marry for death do you part. I'm making it at the very beginning clear that that's my purpose of a marriage. It's death do you part. When we are no longer together, one of us is probably dead. You know, and if I got something to say about it, I can just about guarantee you one of us is definitely dead. Now, women would be like, oh, that's extreme. Why would I marry a woman who thinks death do you part is extreme? Because you know what she just told me? If she think that's extreme, this marriage won't last but a certain amount of time. So when she gets what she wants out of it, she gone anyway. Why would I sign up for that? It don't make sense to me. And people be like, oh, that you're being extreme. I only got one life in this world. I'm gonna live it the best way I can. And why would I? And knowing what the laws are, you know, I've seen a father go through divorce. I've seen a man have to buy himself a second house who was not rich. I'm not talking about you buying a house in Florida because it's nice, you know, and I want to get away from this part of the country. No, I'm talking about buying a second house because you ain't got one to live in. You got a house, but you ain't got one to live in. That's crazy to me. I wouldn't do nothing like that. Well, I don't want to do nothing like that at the end of the day. And I'm trying to do better than what my father did. Ain't that my job as a man, to try to do better than what my father did? Yeah. Well, I don't want to buy two houses to live in for me. Yeah. If I'm buying a second house, I want some rental property or something. I ain't trying to buy two houses for me.
Hard out here.
You know, unless I'm rich and just got it like that on, you know, now on that, yeah, then cool. But nah, man, my thing is I'm looking for a woman that's actually committed to the marriage. Most men ain't been taught to look for the woman that's committed to the marriage. If she think divorce is a real thing, why just go find somebody else who's cool with that? You know, I ain't telling her to change as a person. I'm just being honest about who I am. Go find somebody else to change. So I'm not gonna work out with a feminist, and I already know that about myself. And it seems like based on what other men are saying, y'all ain't good with it either. So why not?
We're definitely in agreement about it. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, so why not confront the idea head on? If we don't like feminists in general, why don't we just say that? I'm not saying women shouldn't be feminists or can't be feminists. My thing is, if you're a feminist, you got to make it in this world on your own. That's it. And I'm cool with you making it on your own.
Yeah, I agree, Roger, because what you're doing is that you're trying to move the pressures of being a buffer class onto the actual female, because that's what they're doing. They're allowing, the part of the ideology, part of the effects of feminism is making the female a buffer class between the powers that be and men. So what in your recommendation is to try to find ways to pass more of that onto the women. And so Yeah, I agree. But because you are dealing with a pool of family.
Well, my thing is, if you're gonna be a husband to a woman, there's gonna be certain benefits she's gonna get, and that's gonna happen because society has not frowned upon that. Now, are you gonna get certain benefits as a wife? That depends on what your belief system is. But based on America, they're trying to basically put it to the point where you won't get any benefits as a husband. And my thing is, I just don't want to sign up for something that don't give me a benefit. That don't make sense to me. Every dollar I spend, I want to get something out of it because it's my dollar. Now, I may not have the dollar somebody else got, but the dollars I spend, I want to get something out of it. You know, that's just real talk. You know, I rarely spend $1 and I don't get something out of it. I even give money to children, but there's certain children I'm gonna give money to, and I do get something out of giving them something to go have some fun with, or go buy some snacks with, or whatever it is that they doing with it. I do get something out of it. You know what I'm saying? I love my nephews and my nieces. When I give them money, it makes me happy to see them go have fun with the money. You see what I'm saying? So I'm still getting something out of that. I like to get something out of my money. Now, if I'm paying for a woman that doesn't think she should be of service to me, I don't understand what I'm supposed to get out of that.
I want to
Yeah.
circle back in on that whole us withholding sex thing. Like, there's a lot more that we have than just the D. We have a whole lot. Like the whole concept of like your light. Like, I love that imagery, that statement, because like your light that you have has a whole sunlight has a bunch of spectrums to it. You have everything from infrared to ultraviolet. There's a whole lot that's there. And when you go and you look at some of, like, even just some of these clips where you go and you see this horde of women all chasing Chris Brown, they're doing it like just for a look. Like the attention side of it actually means a lot, because there's a whole lot that comes with a man than just peeing.
Absolutely. And my thing is this, y'all. I can't be mad at a woman for being a feminist because she's a woman at the end of the day. A woman's trying to get what she can out the world too. I do get it. My thing is, everything's supposed to come at a cost. You go after one thing, but you got to give something else up. I'm not mad with nobody who made it. I ain't mad with nobody who didn't make it. I respect your right to failure, just like I respect your right to succeed. And I think men need to start coming to terms with ideas like that. It is cool for women to go out and quote unquote be successful. Yeah, there's going to be certain things they might have to give up if they're going to be successful in certain areas, you know, and women could do some certain alternative things to be successful, you know, and they may do something that's not so conventional and not so well thought of. Like, you know, we got OnlyFans now, right? It's women that go out there and they become successful because they got an OnlyFans. I ain't saying it's a lot of them, you know, based on the numbers, it's just like the top percentages. They become real successful because they did OnlyFans. Well, now you may not be able to get a husband because he may find every dude you deal with might find out about your OnlyFans, so nobody wants to be with you in any kind of real way. My thing is, that's a cost, but you did get your OnlyFans money, so why you tripping? That's how I look at it. Why you tripping? You got the OnlyFans money, right? You got the checks and you spent it, right? So why
She
you
wants her, and she wants to eat it too, but she does not want you to judge her for the transgressions that she made, sir. That's what she wants. But I'm
tripping?
just saying.
AL is right. I saw the craziest clip of a chick talking about she's a virgin and she was doing stuff on OnlyFans with dudes. Like, that delusion is crazy.
And my thing is, I'm not saying a woman don't have a right to do all this stuff, but my thing is, certain things come with the territory. That's just how it is at the end of the day. If you want to work in the medical field, you got to be a clean person. It just come with the territory. You know, you can't be no doctor and be nasty and dirty all the time. You got to be a clean person. It come with the territory. And my thing is, people get paid, they make money, they spend the money doing whatever they want to do it. If you're going to take the money and spend the money, why trip about the process? If you want to be an NBA player, you're going to have to really dedicate yourself to being better than just about everybody else on planet Earth at basketball. So you're going to have to give up certain stuff. You may not get to go out with the woman you wanted to go out with because you're still trying to get better, so you might make a team. There's things you got to give up. It just is what it is. I'm not saying I'm against a woman being a feminist if that's what she want to do. She live in this. I live in America, y'all. I accept people can be what they want to be, but just when you make a decision to be something, you got to give up some other stuff, and that just comes with territory. So I don't feel bad for people who made a choice to do something and they had to give up something else. I had to too. When I got myself in financial trouble, I had to dig myself out of it. That would go with the territory. You know, I want to kick it and have fun on this particular night. I want to go spend $500. Okay, well, I can't afford this other thing because I spent $500 the other night. It come with the territory. So why do women get to be feminists? And based on what I'm seeing, men, especially black men, ain't necessarily down with all this feminist stuff that women are doing, but they ain't got to pay no price. That's what don't make sense to me.
The men are feminists too. We're all feminists. This is a feminist country. You know, look, the only one who's really figured this out amongst all of us really is Tunnel Runner. What did Tunnel Runner do? He was married to an American woman. That shit didn't work out, right? So he hopped on a plane, went to a country that didn't support the feminist bullshit, got one of them women and married her. That's the only way you have a shot at beating feminism in America. You're not gonna take a woman who's been raised and bred and educated and facilitated and financed in a feminist country for 25 plus years, and then she's gonna be able to somehow then just kind of decouple from all of that. You have to get a woman outside this country to break the feminism in yourself. You got feminism in yourself you got to break. And the only way you're going to break it is for you to probably get somebody who's out of the system who forces you to be more accountable as a man. And you're not going to be able to do that with 95% of the women here.
Yeah, shout out to Tunnel Runner in the Paradise Report. I gotta drop down, you gentlemen. Thanks. Have a nice day. I enjoy y'all. Catch you next time.
All right, we'll take it easy.
Take care.
Hey, Paradise Report. I thought I called it. Paradise Report.
Well, from Tunnel Runner, it do seem like paradise. Let's keep it real. Tunnel Runner ain't got no bad reports.
All Tunnel Runner talk about is what that is the duties that woman performed for him. That's the only thing he talks about.
Mm-hmm. And you can hear the joy in his voice when he talk about it.
Right. Exactly.
Tunnel Runner be the happiest brother on the panel. No, right. Shout out to you, Tunnel Runner, though. Shout out to you, Tunnel Runner, Joe. Real talk. Tunnel Runner be Tunnel Runner be in heaven. You know what I'm saying?
Runner be talking like Tunnel Runner, like, I don't even see what the problem is. This is some simple shit around here. What's the problem?
Yeah, you could probably cuss Tunnel Runner out on this panel. He'd probably be like, "Hey, I'm straight, bro. I ain't tripping."
Tunnel Runner gonna be like, "Hey, baby, can you fix me some snacks while they curse me out?"
I mentioned Tunnel Runner, and I hope if he listens, I hope he doesn't misunderstand. My point is that, look, it's easier to not yourself be a conspirator of feminism when you're with a woman who has not been raised and bred in. But the reality is that we're like all addicts of feminism, right? Where you're almost never really cured of it. You're mostly just kind of recovering from it. Now, obviously, there are various degrees of addiction amongst us. Some of us less addicted than others. Maybe Raj is more enlightened than most of us, maybe as a product of his upbringing and his own sort of natural facilities. But, to some degree, we all kind of, help to kind of keep the wall up of this shit. And we do it in our behavior and how we see things and what we say and do and what we tolerate. And it is a conscious thing you have to do to not do it. And that's why I say I think you have to just kind of get a woman outside the system. So because a lot of what happens is we've all developed these habits over time that align with the status quo. And so then you get with a woman that's a product of it, and then you just fall into those patterns. And things might appear to be going well, very well. You may be productive. You bought a new house. Maybe you got a business going, et cetera, or whatever. Then all of a sudden you find out she fucking some other dude or other woman, right? Or she, for whatever reason, she decides to leave you, which almost always include her fucking another dude or a woman. And you're all surprised. I thought shit was great. I thought shit was good. I mean, so I just think, I appreciate the concept of what you present, Roger. I just don't see the world in which you're going to be able to qualify a woman in this system to not be a feminist. I don't see it.
Okay, now I gotta address this. Shout out to Dustin. He said this a while ago, so I hope you're still listening. Dustin says, I have 3 kids. I have no problem with feminism, not a beta. Dustin, I'm sorry to have to inform you, because over here we give folks the truth. You are a beta. Now, why am I saying you're a beta? Because you said I have 3 kids. I have no problem with feminism, not a beta. Only a beta believes that his relationship to women can determine whether he's alpha or beta. You have to be a beta to even believe that. And you just said I have 3 kids, which is, you're telling us something about you was able to be with a woman and have 3 kids, or be with possibly 3 women and have 3 kids. So you're measuring your manhood based on what some woman did with you. Bro, that's the very basis of being a beta. And I'm saying that in the context of what you said it in. So no, Dustin, you are a beta because you believe your relationship with a woman can make you a man.
Respectful.
I mean, even in the wild kingdom from which these terms really derive, these are references to status within a hunting or gathering or grouping pack of males. An alpha ape, an alpha wolf, they represent, or beta ape or beta gorilla or whatever. That's the status within the group of males. Has nothing at all to do with your relationship with women, whether you produce 3.5 children, whatever the hell he said, number of children, has nothing to do with that. It's all about your status within a group of an effective group of males. Period. The women have nothing to do with that. Now, the alpha has a choice of males, or excuse me, of females, but the status is within that group of males.
Well, and I'm going to say, all that really men were using in context of working together, and the alpha was a person who was head of a project at the end of the day. Now, a lot of y'all, because you are betas, and I'm saying in the context that you mean it in, you made it about men and women because you are a beta. And because you are a beta, you think your manhood comes from what you can do or not do with a woman, or how some woman is going to treat you personally. You did that because that is a way to shy away from competition with men. And guess what? It is somewhere in your heart that you really believe that I got to be pleasing to these women, which means I'm going to go along with this concept. Now, I'm going to say this, and I know some of y'all didn't get to hear it. I've been talking against that concept for a long time now because I've been doing this for years. You got to be beta to even buy into it, because you bought into your manhood is literally connected to what some woman thinks about you. Because let's keep it real. Can you have children if women don't think you should? Can you, you know what I'm saying? Can you do certain things if women don't agree with it? You are determining alpha and beta based on what some woman did. So you look at women as the head of you. A woman is your head. Because, and this ain't to be offensive to people. It's the reality of dealing with it. If I'm an alpha because I can have 12 women give me a baby, that means women are my head. I can't get away from that. It is what it is.
Yeah, well, you're not an alpha. You're a buck. You're an enslaved buck. You're an enslaved reproductive buck. You're not a leader or head of anything.
The men that buy into those concepts of that alpha beta stuff, I mean, that's what they mean when they talk about it, though. They do think, but see, your issue is you didn't get a woman to do this because you're not man enough, or your woman didn't do that for you because you're not man enough. I had a baby because I was man enough. So they literally have bought into female superiority. You can't have it both ways. You know, Blackwood, just like you said, the thing about sex, and the reason I didn't come down on that, because I'm like, yeah, we can't have it both ways. You can't just say there is no point, because you can't have it both ways. Once you accept something, you got to accept everything that come with it. So you can't be sitting here saying I'm not a beta based on the reality of women, and women not be your actual superior. You know, and I know that hurts guys' feelings. I do understand that. I'm not saying this to hurt any man's feelings. I'm just trying to tell you the reality that you've accepted. You can't be alpha or beta in context to women unless women are superior to you. Just is what it is. But y'all, I'm gonna wrap this up because we already 20 minutes in overtime. I think everybody done said what they wanted to get out. Is anybody want to get out something before we go?
No, I'll just say what I want to say backstage.
Okay, then backstage it is. If
I'd
y'all
like to say before, si se puede.
So I always got to be one, y'all. Because I don't know what that meant. I'll try to find out backstage. But y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the channel if you like real hard hitting content, because that's what you're going to get over here. And if y'all, or everybody, hit the like button on your way out. If you ain't already done it, hit the like button. I'll see y'all back tomorrow, 9 a.m., y'all. We do these shows at 9 a.m. Chicago time. You might be in Singapore, but I'm talking about Chicago time, y'all. Okay, you could be in New York City, but Chicago time, 9 a.m., y'all, Monday through Fridays for your new folks. We'll see y'all next time around. Long live the Habitual Line Steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right, and I'm out.